Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Located just 4 miles north from downtown Richmond, Virginia, lies one of the most historic short tracks in all of America's short track racing. Versus 1953, the NASCAR Cup Series has made an annual trip on its road to the championship, and tonight, the stars of the Bluegrass iRacing Series look to do the exact same. Hello everyone, and welcome to PitStop TV's live coverage of Round 4 of the Bluegrass iRacing Series as we get set to go 150 miles under the lights here at Richmond Raceway. As always, we are live tonight across our various platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. I'm Noah Carmichael up here in the booth. Lined up by my side here on the mic is the one and only Joe Donahue, Trey Shuttlesworth running social media tonight for our Facebook and Twitter pages, and Andrew Cardinale IV behind the scenes producing to bring you live feed of tonight's action. A week ago, we found ourselves at another famous short track little over 3 hours away as we witnessed a grueling 250-lap race from the Martinsville Speedway. And tonight looks to be possibly much of the same as these drivers get set to go another 150 miles around the D-shaped oval, once known as the Atlantic Rural Exposition Fairgrounds track. Joe, you've seen plenty of short track racing take place in your home state of Pennsylvania. What do you expect seeing that will be the key of getting the win here tonight?
Well, Noah, Richmond always has a little bit of flair to it. I think one of the highest level, if not the track that we expect the most of a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of aggression, and some emotions come out when we're here in Richmond. So I'm expecting close racing. I'm expecting if you're going to be competitive tonight, you're going to have to be right on the bumper of the guy in front of you, and you're not going to you have to be able to get your elbows out a little bit. Don't be afraid to be a little aggressive here, because that's the type of racing that gets you to the front at Richmond. I think if the guys want to put their elbows out, they'll see themselves at the front by the end of the race.
Another big difference between this track and what we saw last week, it's a lot longer. Back the whole half mile of mayhem that we saw take place with the Martinsville, this one you have a lot more room to work with. It's a lot wider, it's a lot longer, so you have more time to breathe and pick your battles and where you want to fight these people. You have about 5 lanes to work with compared to, well, if you want to try and make it work, you have upwards of possible 4 to get around these cars, or you can just wait and get these long runs on the straightaway compared to about the 3 barely lanes you could get on Martinsville. So these drivers have a lot more room to work with. But regardless, Richmond has always produced some incredible racing here tonight. Casey Barlow comes off an incredible win last week at Martinsville after a hectic finish that scored him his first win of the season. And tonight he looks to possibly go back-to-back and not half-and-half throwback to the Days of Thunder days.
Yeah, absolutely. A crazy performance last week, and congratulations to Casey for that victory. But here at Richmond, like you said, the track's wider and longer. I think that the amount of speed you can carry through the corners does make a huge difference in the way you race the two different short tracks. Comparing Martinsville and Richmond with this D-shaped configuration, your front stretch is also a completely different animal, whereas Martinsville, the track is the same on the front stretch and the back stretch. I think that does play a factor, and especially from driver skill, the ability to get out of that D-shaped portion of the quote-unquote front stretch in through turns 1 and 2. That's a problem spot. That's the type of place where you could very easily see somebody get a little bit aggressive and get a little bit ahead of themselves into that corner. So that's a place to watch for these guys to be making mistakes. But just in general, absolutely agree with you on the wideness of this track and the length of this track. It just completely changes the way that short track racing is done. And I think with the field we have, a lot of very skilled and competitive drivers, it very easily could become the type of race where we're going to be looking from driver to driver, watching great battles all the way through the field. I'm really excited for it. I'm really glad to be back. It's nice to be here with the Bluegrass guys as we like to do on our Wednesday nights, and we're looking forward to seeing how much of that ebb and flow, how many bump and runs maybe we get, that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. And with that finish last week, that really shook up the points. And as you can see right there to begin with, Brandon Robertson, he now finds himself the new points leader after last week. Casey Barlow talked about scoring that win. He now boosts himself up 17 spots to safely find himself into the playoffs with that secured win. Travis Miller did not show up last week. He will not be here tonight. He currently lines up third. And then John Kinder finds himself up 2 spots after a grueling race at the Martinsville Speedway, where he had to really fight his way through the field about 4 or 5 times even to get himself up into the top 10. And then Alan Dobbs, not too far behind him, 15 points back, the second driver out without a win.
You look back at 6th place, you see Ryan Kendall, another name that's new this season. Very good stuff to see Ryan Kendall up there. Daniel Worthington in 7th spot right now, still very well within reach of being a part of the playoff format, as well as Matt Grenier, Wes Wiggin, Ronnie Shirk Jr. behind him, all of these drivers. And it's nice to see as well. It's nice to see a nice mixture of older names and newer names, but all these guys just still trying to keep momentum and trying to get a win, secure that spot in the next round of the playoffs.
And as you see there, if you are wondering why there's a little bit of a difference, how it goes from the minus 45 to 152 points, those 3 wins you see there, this is something new that Bluegrass is doing this season from last year. They have introduced a playoff format. So that means those 3 wins that you see Travis Miller, Casey Barlow, and Robertson have, those lock themselves into it. So from 4th on back, it's kind of like what NASCAR used to do with the chase format. That is from on back to wild card position, everybody trying to fight in on their way on whether it's stage points or trying to get the win. But regardless, that's what you're going to have to deal with if you want to try and make this race, make the playoffs without getting a win. Right now, though, qualifying is already seemingly underway here at the Richmond Raceway as we get set for tonight's race, as they get ready to set the field for tonight's action. As you see currently on the track is the number 9 of Bryce Hunter. He currently now goes to the top of the board, but Alan Dobbs quickly knocks him off. One of the more faster drivers the last 3 weeks. He is the new face on the block. He have made a little bit of run-ins with drivers so far this season, but regardless whether you love him or hate him, he is one of the fastest drivers, still without a win, but could easily get that tonight if he keeps those fenders clean as he comes across the line. Still currently P1, but he does not go faster.
Yeah, Alan Dobbs, I remember from Daytona itself, the first race he participated in this series, as we're riding on board with Dakota Shepherd right now down the back stretch. He just absolutely stunned and performed exceptionally well. I was very, very satisfied with his running. I think Alan Dobbs is a name we could be watching throughout the entirety of the season as a competitor for race wins and for championship implications as we go forward. Dakota Shepherd just finished up his first lap. We're riding on board with Gary Jazorski. Sorry if I botched that for you there. He coming out of the final corner, and we'll see where he puts himself up on the list. So looks like he's about 0.7 seconds off the leader. So Gary's going to try to be putting down a much better lap time than that to try to get towards the front of this race. I do think track position at the start of this race is going to be very important, Noah. So definitely these guys are going to be out here pushing it very hard to try to get up towards the front to start it.
Now looking back, you see the number 21 of John Kender, one of the heavy favorites for this championship fight. He was one of the final 3 contenders last season going into Kentucky. He looks to try and better himself. Right now, he finds himself lined up 4th on the grid. He's about a 10th back. Something I'm seeing a lot of drivers do differently. Not really, more of the guys that are towards the backs doing this, but a lot, even guys up towards the front. As you see Kendrick, he goes in there a little bit easier, but I've seen drivers attacking turn 3 on the entry, just diving all the way down to the bottom rather than trying to get a gradual entry and try and arc the corner. As you would see coming down here into turn number 1, as Kendrick now finishes his time, he will line up on the outside of the front row. Now looking at the number 33 of Wyatt Brackes, he looks to continue his lap to try and set his first time of the night. Currently the time to beat still for Alan Dobbs. He finds himself on pole with a gap all the way to 9th still of a 1 second gap to the number 8 of Matt Smith.
Yeah, we're watching now Casey Barlow sliding into the inside, hit the wall there a little bit, so he should be okay. You're looking at the number 1 of Scott Fritz in the Raise Energy Ford coming past the line again. See where he goes on the leaderboard. So he's going to be no time. So he must have hit the wall or something. That lap did not count. And here on iRacing, so for those who don't know, if you get a little too squirrely on your qualifying lap or you roll up and hit one of the walls on inside or outside of the racetrack, iRacing will invalidate your lap time. And that's what happened to the first of Scott Fritz's qualifying attempts. But lap number 2 puts him in 12th spot, so certainly not far enough up the grid where he would have wanted to be, but definitely some work to do. Can definitely get it done. Scott Fritz, longtime driver in this series. You're watching Casey Barlow now attempting to make his own run down the backstretch.
Scott Fritz, we saw when he came out here with Martinsville last week, probably had the drive of his career, had a win lined up in the bag, but sadly got sit in the turn number 1, which caused that huge melee at the finish that gave what you see now, number 51, Casey Barlow, his first one of the season. He now goes 5th on the board, a 10th off the pole of Alan Dobbs. Now looking at another driver to potentially be a championship favorite, still without a win, surprisingly, number 52 of Justin Winters, as he sets off into turn 3 and 4. We're going to see where he lines up in the number 52 Allen's Body Shop Chevrolet Camaro. He comes across the line 11th on the board, so a not too strong first lap. Gonna have to see if he can improve that as he comes off of turn number 2. And as you see, the lights are going down, the sun's going down, and the lights are coming up. So you're gonna see the track temp start to fall. So expect maybe some of these back guys who have yet to set a time to set some flyers as they come across the track. You see the weather pull up on your screen. Currently 73 degrees out here in Richmond, Virginia, mostly cloudy with the track temp a little bit 3 degrees hotter at 76 with wind coming from the southwest at 6.1 miles an hour. So very much varying weather conditions that are going to very much throw a wrench into the plans. Much we saw in Martinsville. A lot of drivers, when the sun comes down, they were struggling with the corner exit, especially off of turn number 4. They would come off the corner and the car would just snap on them. I saw another league last night have that exact same issue. They'd exit off of turn 4, get on the gas too quickly, and a lot of big difference from when the sun was up. They just snap the car and go around. So that is something that you could expect to see from these drivers here tonight. As you look at number 5, as he hits the wall, as Joshua Abbey struggling right now in early goings, as looks like that was his second lap as well. So he's just going to go back and get a fresh car, as now Daniel Worthington finds himself to get on his outlap.
Yeah, so on your screen, you're seeing now it's Nathan Maurer in the Simbox Chevy number 97 coming through to try to complete his own lap times. You mentioned it, Noah, about the sun going down, and I would have expected these guys to start coming out as the sun went down and maybe the track got a little bit cooled off. I do think within 10 minutes, the difference is not huge, but milliseconds count in motorsports itself, and especially at a short track like this with a field as competitive as we have tonight. So Nathan Maurer finishes up his second lap, I believe, and that is going to be 9th place on the grid for the time being. But you're watching Joshua Abbey, who gets to thankfully restart and reset and try to go a little bit faster, try to get his lap time down and get it in for a run that comes to a close. He's still sitting in P18. We're now watching Matt Grenier, who is a championship contender, certainly, and going out to just start his qualifying attempts now.
Yeah, Matt Grenier, he has really picked up the pace these last few weeks compared to season 1, where he found himself being more of a top 10 contender. Now he finds himself a top 5 win contender in the number 15 Snap-on Mustang as he comes off turn 4, seeing where he is going to find himself. Currently 7th, so he punches his ticket into the top 10. Currently going to be sitting lined up next to Ronnie Shirk Jr. as he makes his way down the back straightaway for his second lap to try and see if he can improve. We haven't seen much of it. Usually the first lap is seemingly being the fastest lap, so the second lap is being really tough on drivers to try and improve. As you see there, Grenier, that's another thing. The sun's going down, the grip is catching these drivers off guard, and now we see it with the number 15 of Grenier now looking at Brandon Robertson, your new points leader at number 2 GM Goodwrench plus Chevrolet, as now he's on his out lap, and he could potentially be a threat to Alan Dobbs' pole time if he can really set these corners straight.
Yeah, and part of the thing that I think we have to think about from the psychological side of a driver as they're doing these qualifying laps, lap 1 versus lap 2, when you finish lap 1, I mean, you've set your time for lap 1, and lap 2 becomes a fight to try to go faster. And these guys are going to push themselves. And I think that could be a big factor when you're going out on your second lap, is if you push yourself too much or you just don't think about it quite as straight as you need to, is what we saw with Matt Grenier. Brandon Robertson put his first of 2 laps down, did not quite break into the top 10, but he's still got another lap, and you see a big wiggle out of turn 2. So just what I was saying, maybe just got a little bit out from underneath them. These guys are going to push as hard as they can, as absolutely hard as the cars will handle it on their second laps. That's what they do. And as he comes past the line again, he's going to end up in P11 as the standings currently stand here. So Brandon Robertson, not quite as far up on the grid for the start as I initially would have imagined, at least for the championship leader, but Brandon Robertson's shown definitely he can come up from the back, so don't count him out of the race just yet.
Especially with the fact that Robertson last time out here in season 1, he was the winner here at Richmond. So he is obviously one of the heavy favorites to go out and take the win here tonight. But he doesn't have to worry about getting the win because he's already found himself advanced into the playoffs with his win at Vegas. So he doesn't have to worry about winning his way in because now all he has to do is just get as many points as he can to try and strengthen his chance at winning this title. Alan Dobbs still currently a pole sitter. John Kinder in second. Bryce Hunter in the 9 finds himself third. The number 14 of Tyler Reed finds himself in the 4th position. Casey Barlow 5th. Adam Lancaster in 6th. Matt Grenier currently 7th. Ronnie Shirk Jr. in 8th, with Justin Winters in 9th, and Nathan Maurer finds himself 10th. You see on the bottom of your screen about 5 to 8 cars still left to make their first laps. One of the big drivers to watch out for is that 08 of Nicholas Noggle. He has been a monster on these short tracks. He was a monster last week at the Martinsville Speedway, and he could very easily be a driver that could go out and win this race. And then number 08 Toyota still looking for his first career win.
Yeah, Nick Noggle is an aggressive driver, but he's a good driver, and he's put up a lot of good performances in his day. Obviously, he was a season 1 competitor, so we got to see plenty of his capabilities last season at short tracks, especially with Richmond, Bristol, Martinsville last season, and then you include last week at Martinsville, and you come here, and what do you expect out of Nick Noggle? You expect him to be competitive, and surely as we move forward with the rest of this qualifying session, let him get out onto the track. Very easily could see him contending in the top 10, top 5, even go for the pole when we do get to see that car come out. I am curious about some of these guys, though. I know we saw Daniel Worthington come out onto the track earlier on in the session, and you saw on your screen there he hasn't set a time yet, so I don't know. Maybe he used up his 2 laps, because like we said earlier, if you hit the wall or get a little too squirrely on one of your laps in qualifying, iRacing will eliminate it from your score sheet. You will not get a time to set you in the order from those laps. So it is possible that maybe some of these guys on this list won't be coming out again. They might have used up their laps already, but not gotten those times yet. So we'll have to just wait it out, I guess, and see who comes out and who doesn't.
Notable drivers on the list include number 13 of Brian Terry, the 08 of Nicholas Noggle, the 46 of Nick Mills, and the 113 of Daniel Worthington. 4 drivers that we're used to seeing here in this series, all currently without a time. And you see the sponsors now rolling across your screen tonight. As always, sponsoring the series is Rims One Wheels, Tires, and Accessories, a longtime supporter of the Bluegrass iRacing series, and then Milner Media and Designs. Thank you to those 2 for supporting this series and letting these drivers be able to put wheels on the track, to be able to compete out here, and for us to be able to bring you these live shots as well as we get set for an incredible night of racing from the state of Lovers. Also give a shout out to our own sponsors here on PitStop TV. Starting off, we're going to give a shout out to Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and we will custom create a beautiful framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional information. Also, give a shout out to with the promo code. Insert the code PitStopTV to get 15% off on your order. So obviously that'll help you a lot. Obviously, you go use that code. It'll help you a lot with saving some money, and obviously give us a shout out as well, as Sound Art of Tucson has been a really big supporter of us. Also give a shout out to Permanent Makeup in Carmel, Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care money can buy. At Permanent Makeup in Carmel, Maine, the owner Ashley Bollier is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup in Carmel, Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call/text them at 207-358-8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine a call today to book a consultation. If you visit their Facebook page, Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine, you can enter one of their monthly giveaways. Enter today, who knows, you might just win. And lastly, give a shout out to our parent organization, Whiplash Media. Whiplash Media specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Go to whiplash-media.com for more information. And with that, that will wrap up qualifying here at Richmond as we get set for tonight's action. And as always, we'll give you a rundown of the starting grid. Starting on pole tonight in the number 3 is Alan Dobbs. Lined up on his outside is the number 21 of John Kinder. Lining up behind them in his third spot is going to be the number 9 of Bryce Hunter, with Tyler Reed lining up on his outside. Back in row number 3 is going to be the number 51 of Casey Barlow, hot off his win at Martinsville a week ago, with Adam Lancaster starting in P6. Rolling off 7th here tonight is going to be the number 15 of Matt Grenier, with Ronnie Shirton Jr. lining up in 8th at the number 7. Start and rounding out your top 10 is going to be the number 52 of Justin Winter, still looking for his first career win, and the always bad fast Nathan Maurer in the number 97.
Rolling off the inside of row number 6 will be your championship leader, Brandon Robertson, in the number 2 Chevrolet. To his outside, the 48, that's Jack Bauer. Looking back onto row number 7, in the 13th starting spot is the number 8. That is the number 38 on your screen is David Brackett. On your screen, you see it as the number 88 National Guard car. Gary Jaworski will be on his outside in number 18 Toyota, starting 14th. 15th spot is going to be Wyatt Brackett out of New England in the number 33 machine, with Michael Oxett to his outside in the 81 and 16th spot. 17th on your grid is going to be Michael Brisson in the number 71 Ford. To his outside, a regular of the series in the 88, the real 88, the true 88, Wes Wigand. Rounding out the 10th row on your grid is going to be the driver out of Pennsylvania in the Raise Energy number 1. That's Scott Fritz. And to his outside, a Texan, our good old buddy Joshua Abbey in the 5.
Lining up back at the 21st spot, you're going to find number 01 of Dakota Shepard. Lining up alongside him is going to be the number 8 of Mitch Smith. Lining up back in position number 23 is going to be the number 68 of Ryan Kendall, stage winner from Las Vegas. Next to him is going to be the number 46 of Nick Mills. Starting back in the 25th spot tonight is going to be the Nicholas Noggle. He's going to fight his way through the field. Next to him is going to be number 113 of Daniel Worthington. 27th on the grid is going to be CJ Mason, with Brian Terry on his outside. Rounding out your top 30 here tonight will be... We forgot to pull up and lining it, actually not even top 30, lining up your last position in 29th shotgun on the grid is going to be the 37 of Alex Brown, as we get the 1 to go on the Ford Mustang pace car. Joe, we've witnessed a crazy intense race at Martinsville. You get ready for another one here tonight at Richmond. I am excited as ever to go racing. How about you? Are you ready to get some racing underway?
Well, I'm always ready to come out and see the Bluegrass guys go to work, and Richmond's always an exciting race. I enjoy the short track racing we get at Richmond personally more than some others. So I'm ready to go. I'm hoping everybody here is revved up and ready as well with us in the broadcast and on the track. We're about to get some good racing, and let's just see what goes down.
Coming up with turn number 4, as always, we thank you for spending your Wednesday night with us here on PitStop TV. The field now in the hands of number 3 of Alan Dobbs. Green flag in the air, and we are racing at Richmond. Alan Dobbs gets out to a full car length advantage into turn number 1 as Casey Barlow in the 51 takes advantage of the gap. He shoots up into second. John Kinner drops back to third as the field dogfights off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Still, it is all Alan Dobbs, Barlow, and Kinder, your top 3 as they complete lap number 1.
I'm really glad that we got through lap number 1 as clean as we did. Everybody kept their line and just kind of single filed out, especially at the front right here. You're seeing Alan Dobbs holding on to about 0.2 of a second over Casey Barlow. John Kinder in there too with McInerney and Tyler Reed rounding out your top 5 right now. You can see it's basically single file all the way back through the top 10, which is really nice. That'll get us some time to get ready and get these drivers into their rhythm, start ticking off laps, and hopefully get more towards the front. You see John Kinder trying to make a pass very easily down the inside of Casey Barlow through 1 and 2 right here.
Kinder now promotes himself back up to P2, and you see Barlow actually trying to utilize the top lane. I'm not very sure how much the high side works here at Richmond. We've usually seen drivers attack the bottom, but Barlow trying to see what works in the early goings. There's ever a time to try and figure out which lines work and which lines don't do it in the early goings, but obviously he sees it's not going to work, so he falls back behind McInerney in the 4th spot. Lancaster not too far behind in the 5th position at number 28. Ghostface Brewing Ford Mustang as Tyler Reed at number 14 right behind him with a mirror full of Justin Winters. Not too far behind is Alan Dobbs still knocking off fast laps. He again pulls off of the Ghost Purple through all two sectors of this track. He's now currently holding on to the fastest lap of the race as Winters still trying to get around to number 14 and take over that 6th spot.
Yeah, you see the 14 of Tyler Reed out the front now, and you see Justin Winters just all over the tail of him. I mean, what more can you do? It's short track racing. Everybody's still bunched together, and this is the part of the race where the adrenaline is rushing. You really want to get to the front. Justin Winters really wants to get up there. He wants to start proving that he's got what it takes to win races and get himself into that playoffs for sure. Justin Winters was one of the heavy hitters in the championship last year, especially. So for him, there's a little bit extra holding on to it. Everybody's kind of got a little bit higher expectations out of Justin Winters, and surely all of his fans are watching him and hoping he can make that pass as well. So he's still giving Tyler Reed plenty to worry about behind him, as Tyler Reed's still trying to hold on to Adam Lancaster, see if he can get himself even into the top 5.
Winters still trying to do everything he can as you now look at your race leader, Alan Dobbs, currently running away with the race lead, holding about a half-second gap. He has currently led all 7 laps as he makes his way through turns 1 and 2 and a number 3 Chevrolet Camaro. John Kinder not too far behind, about a half-second back, trying to chase him down, but to no avail. The number rims 1 Ford Mustang. You see drivers now starting to gap themselves out. We're going to see maybe possibly a longer green flag run as they make their way down to turn 1. You see Bryce Hunter now at the top of your screen. He currently exiting turn number 2. We're already going to start seeing lap traffic playing a factor. Not exactly sure what might have happened to number 9, whether he missed the grid or he had an issue with the starting. As you see, he is still trying to catch his way back up to the tail end of the field. Right now, he's going to have to start worrying about where these leaders are going to make their move to get around him as you look out the rear end of the number 9 Chevrolet Camaro.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens if they catch up to Bryce Miller. Not quite sure how he got into this position where we're starting to already talk about lap traffic, but Bryce Miller has a right as a driver to try to contend and stay on the lead lap, but once he gets lapped, he should be out of the picture. But for Alan Dobbs right now, who's still got plenty of trouble with John Kinder holding on behind him, I'd be worried about that if I was Alan Dobbs. I think he's going to want to put up a fight, and Bryce Hunter's going to want to try to stay on that lead lap as long as possible, just in the eerie chance that he gets a yellow. So you go ahead. There's Justin Winters having problems apparently here.
Justin Winters, he was all the way back up in the top 10. He now finds himself in 23rd. So big problems for number 52. As this is the replay, you see him coming off of turn number 2, that 52 Allens. Oh, he gets very much loose off of turn number 2. Tries to keep out the wall. He will give it a little bit of a smack on the driver's front corner, and now he finds himself all the way back outside the top 20, and now he has an uphill battle of his own to fight through. But another fight going on right now is for that race lead. John Kinder has catched up to the back bumper of Alan Dobbs. Those two are now going to go wheel to wheel if they can get caught up to each other, as John Kinder and Alan Dobbs, two drivers who have had a little bit of run-ins the past few weeks, not too very much pleased with each other. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether these two want to keep it clean here in the early goings of this race and pick their fights for later in this race when it comes down for the win. Because right now it seems these two are going to be the favorites for this race, as they right now have sailed off still about 2 seconds the gap from second to third here as we're still entering lap 14.
Yeah, and if there were any driver that I would expect to be strategic and long-term thinking, it would be John Kinder. John Kinder is a very strategic, a very professional race car driver. He's very willing and mindful of the entirety of a race. So I would expect John Kinder to not really push it too far and make too much aggression out of what we see on your screen right now. Nonetheless, leading laps is good, and leading the laps also gets you bonus points in the championship, which is always important. And I think John Kinder would be first to tell you that, as what we've seen from the past in season 1 as well. You're looking at Nathan Maurer on your screen now as well. He's putting pressure on Ronnie Shirk Jr., but still at the beginning stages of this race, I think everybody should at least try to keep themselves in the mindset of, hey, this is a long race. I don't want to take myself out on lap 16, so I'm going to try to be a little conservative about the aggression I use on the track and try not to slide a lot, which you saw Nathan Maurer wiggle a little bit out of turn number 2 right there.
Another thing to keep in mind as well, while they lead these laps, you're also trying to run away to the halfway stage break at lap 100. We're about 80 laps left in the stage when they hit lap 20. You see Nathan Maurer, you talk about still trying to fight on. Another driver trying to fight on. He started back there in 11th. He now finds himself up into the 8th spot, is the number 2 of Brandon Robertson. We talked about qualifying. One here last season and was able to pull off the win to get his first one of the season. That kind of put himself back into the championship fight. Now he's going to try and do it again here tonight and get a score, his second win of the season. He's trying to run down Nathan Maurer in 97, not too far up the road. As the fight from about 10th on back is starting to heat up, they're really starting to close the gap within each other. But you talk about these drivers starting to single file their way out, find the rhythms of how they want to tackle this track and get around this place while trying to keep their tires alive to try and last these full 200 laps. You see the onboard now with the Simbox Chevrolet of Nathan Maurer with the runoff of turn number 2. Try and see, as you see him shifting up through the gears. Another thing we saw in Martinsville, drivers shifting down even, I don't know if the telemetry was messed up there. We saw him shifting down as much as second. We interviewed a couple of drivers in the middle of the race, and they were even questioning whether or not that's even possible to get down there. As you see now, the telemetry going into turn 1, he's going to take a wider arc entering the corner all the way down to third and try and get that better run off the corners. He's really trying to put the fight to number 7 of Ronnie Shirk.
Yeah, it's all a big fight between what you want and what you can do with these cars, the transmissions and whatnot, using all the gears, not using any of the gears, and just staying in fourth the whole time. Kind of gets left to the driver's preference and how well they can run the car that they're using based off of whether they want to be shifting between third and fourth place like you have Nathan Maurer doing right now, or whether they want to stay in fourth gear the whole time like you see occasionally on and off in, or at least mostly in oval racing. But this track's all about rhythm. I think short track racing in general is a lot about rhythm, but you can see Nathan Maurer at least is holding on to a pretty solid rhythm. You saw him pull that same line into and out of turns 1 and 2 that he did when we were on board with him the lap prior. You're riding on board with the number 28. He's looking at Casey Barlow in front of him, still running in 5th spot. This is Adam Lancaster, and he's definitely making time up on that number 51 car, so we might be very soon seeing a good battle for 4th place on track here. Only about a quarter of the way into the stage, though. Plenty of time for that to roll out and see what becomes of that race with those guys. But like you said, Noah, there's just a lot of really nice action going on right now. As you see Nick Noggle giving a lot of pressure to Jack Bauer.
Nicholas Noggle, he had to start all the way in the back. He now finds himself already up to 12th, putting the pressure on the number 48 of Jack Bauer with the runoff of turn number 2. So he's obviously found his rhythm to get around this facility, and he is currently tearing his way up through the field. He's going to get a wide entry. Watch him diamond the exit at turn number 4. That's going to allow him to get a big amount of momentum down the straightaway. So he gets a little tail happy down the front straightaway. He holds onto it, doesn't lose that much time, but you see he's going to take the low entry into turns 1 and 2. 2 and try and get the runoff to set him up for 3 and 4 once again. But currently he's still finding himself 2 spots out of the top 10, trying to get to Jack Bauer or Tyler Reed to try and boost himself into that 10th place spot. You see Daniel Worthington now falling down the running order on your screen as the fight between Ronnie Sherrick Jr. and Nathan Maurer is still heating up, as now they're going to go side by side for turn number 2.
Yeah, as they're side by side here, and I think Maurer is going to pretty easily be able to put it down and get that lap pass done. Oh, maybe not. Ronnie Sherrick Jr. holding his own on the top, but now he relinquishes that spot. I was watching Nick Noggle as we were on board with him for that lap, and he was just wiggling out of 2 and out of 4. It's just a wiggle, and that's not what you need. You can't be scrubbing momentum like that or burning off your tires if you want to be competitive and keep fighting with the guys in front of you. So that's something, as you see him once more sliding out of turn 2 viciously. If you want to be staying with the guys in front of you, you want to be competitive, you want to have a long run car that will stay under you as you progress through your run, you can't be doing that kind of stuff. So that's a place to raise concern if you're rooting for Nick Noggle right now, is that he seems to be getting a little bit loose as he comes out of the corners, and that's just not how you preserve the tires. That's just not how you stay fast at Richmond.
Well, he has proven himself since he's shown up here to the Bluegrass iRacing Series to be one of the more aggressive drivers, not afraid to make the moves that'll get the position, whether or not that causes somebody else to lose a spot or lose control of their car. He is willing to make those moves. You leave him the gap, he will shoot inside there and take that spot. You see him still just wheeling this thing around there. He's already made some contact with the wall, as you can see on the right front of that car, a little crinkled in there from contact with the outside retaining wall. But he is really just fighting this car tooth and nail to keep control. You see Tyler Reed, and that's what we talked about. He sees the gap to the bottom. He tried sending it in there to utilize that, not able to do so because of how far back he was entering turn number 1, but he was willing to try and make that pass if he could. Now he's going to try and make the top side work, maybe try a crossover down the front straight, if he can hold on to that weight Toyota Camry as he's going to line up behind him. Expect a move out of the 08 here soon, because right now he is preying on the number 14, getting ready to pound for that position.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, what Nicholas Noggle's doing right now is making you look really good, as knowing your stuff as a commentator. He is absolutely aggressive as ever. And you saw with Tyler Reed, I mean, he was so far back off Tyler Reed going into turn number 1, and he just got right there on him. You're watching your race leader, Alan Dobbs, who, relative to the length of the race, we haven't had quite as much time to talk about, they're getting into it in front of him, though, and now we're going to be watching as Daniel Worthington got into the back of Mitch Smith right there, right in front of your race leader. So this is not what Alan Dobbs needs right now, as he even gets into it a little bit of bumper banging from the 3 and the 8 cars. Alan Dobbs not going to be happy with this at all. Oh, Lord, and Daniel Worthington threw the 8 car down the inside, down the backstretch. There's some damage on the leader's car now, possibly from that contact. So we're going to have to see if that affects his car's handling. John Kinder still preying on the tail end of that car. Daniel Worthington finally relinquishes his position on the track, or at least his speed down the backstretch, to let Dobbs through. He's going to let John Kinder through as well, but John Kinder right on the tail. And yeah, Dobbs just all over the lap traffic, got up into the wall, and all of that let John Kinder gain so much time. Looks like he might be losing it again, but definitely a scare for your race leader.
You might also have a replay of the incident with the number 3 as he made contact off of turn number 2. They were trying to fight through that lap traffic. And now Alan Dobbs still holding on to the race lead off of turn number 4. John Kinder still trying to get through him. You can see Dobbs was so frustrated with those two. Obviously, you want to allow these guys to race. They have the right to fight for the positions that they have, but when you have the race leader right behind them, he's going to do everything he can to get around him. Right now, you could tell he was trying everything he could to get around him, giving the bumper to the 8 of Mitch Smith, and then the same almost to Daniel Worthington, who wisely got out of the way. Daniel Worthington also notably missing his front end, so obviously he's found contact with something on the racetrack. A lot of drivers early going here in the race experiencing heavy damage. As you see, Mitch Smith is already 2 laps down. I saw Justin Winters, he looked to be a lap down on pit road, but looks like he might have been a little bit of a timing scoring error, because I saw him fall all the way back to a lap down, but he's able to fight his way back up, or just timing scoring waiting to update, because it's been going nuts in the back. There's a lot of stuff happening outside the top 15, and right now you're seeing a little bit of the results of that, as Worthington is missing his front bumper, as now he's already catching up to number 9 of Bryce Smith above him. Another lap down as he works his way to lap number 40. And that's the Alan Dobbs off of turn number 4. John Kinder still running back there in second, about a second back as the gap to third almost up to 5 seconds at this point. As right now, those two front leaders still running away with the race lead here in the early goings as he still try to fight their way through lap traffic. As now you look back there towards the fight between Casey Barlow and Brandon Robertson. That is the ongoing fight for the 7th position as Barlow runs wide off of turn number 2. He is still going to hold on to position as the fight is still now going to take its place all the way down into turn number 3. It looks like Robertson might clear him this time by as we now complete lap number 45 of 200 as we're about halfway through this first half of the race.
Yeah, you're watching Brandon Robertson just slowly try to trek it up back through, and that's just what Brandon Robertson has to do. We knew that from the start of the race, starting in P11. You're now riding with and watching Casey Barlow, who is now going to lose another spot to Wyatt Brackett in the 33 machine down on the inside. Jack Bauer in behind those guys and running inside the top 10. So good stuff from Jack Bauer, who has been fighting. It's been an uphill and up and down season and preceding season from Jack Bauer. He's had highs and lows. Casey Barlow, oh boy, he got a little bit out of it in turn 2 right there. But just want to give some credit to Jack Bauer. We know he's an aggressive driver, but we know he's had some ups and downs, and we're happy to see him running in the 9th spot right now and still picking them off. So watching Wyatt Brackett as we continue to tick them down. We're almost halfway into this stage on lap 47, my lucky number. Thank you for that instance. Wyatt Brackett down the backstretch out of turn number 2.
Yeah, Jack Bauer has really started to pick up the pace when his performance. He had a really strong run at Martinsville with a pit strategy call he made late in the race that allowed him to have a shot at a top 10 finish. He's looking to do the exact same here. You see the all-Army style theme for that number 48 machine is you see the in-car of him working that steering wheel to turns 1 and 2, trying to fend off the 51, and Casey Barlow still running in the 9th spot, trying to catch up to Wyatt Brackett in the number 33. As you see we have a pass for the lead up ahead. It looks like John Kinder might have finally got the pass done on Alan Dobbs. It looks like it might have been a little bit of a timing error, not like with just the fact of iRacing, as now the number 3 going to dive it down on to pit row. So a little bit of a blink there with the interconnection for number 3. Made it look like Kinder took the lead, but now he officially does take the lead. As we are now halfway through stage 1 here tonight, and Dobbs going to split the stage in half and take those 4 tires in field to get him to the end. So now he's going to try and pull the undercut. We're going to see what Kinder can do in response to that as he makes his way down pit road to get his first stop of the night underway.
So Alan Dobbs pulls into his pit stop, and I had been wondering about this as we were coming to this stage of the race, is when are the guys going to come in and get pit stops? When are they going to replace the Goodyear rubber they're running on? They got 5 sets to deal with and to work with tonight, and if you split the race into quarters, obviously that's 3 sets of tires that you're going to be putting onto the car as the race progresses. It's part of the strategy of the race, and especially since we've been so long, we've been green flag running with the number 21 car, relinquishing his spot as the leader. John Kinder is going to come in and presumably get some fresh Goodyears on that car as well. That's going to put Matt Grenier into the race lead, so he will get some bonus points for being a lap leader this evening. But it's always interesting to see how the strategy plays out when you have a long green flag stint like we've had. Is this is going to change the order. This is what makes and breaks your race at this stage in time with no yellows. It's just all about getting on and off pit road at the right time and doing it quickly. And as a personal thing for me, I always want to try to at least go more than halfway into the run I have to do to the end of the stage or the race itself. And a lot of these guys are proving that they want to do the same thing as watching everybody else come in. Tyler Reed, Scott Fritz now pulling into his box. It's just try to get past that halfway point and put them all behind you. Ronnie Shirk Jr. coming in, Matt Grenier comes in. So looks like basically we're getting the pit stop cycle started, and everybody should be coming in very soon.
With that will put Nicholas and Nagel now up to the point. As you see the fight going on there for the 13th spot with the drivers who might have already pitted. You see Adam Lancaster trying to make the top side work, as now you see your race leader Nicholas Nagel as he enters turn numbers 3 and 4. Something we've also seen Nagel do from time to time. He knows how to stretch these runs out to make it last longer, and we've seen him. He was fighting the wheel tooth and nail, so you expect him to want to try and come in early and get fresh tires on, like you see the number 35 of CJ Mason doing as he makes his way down pit road, currently running up there in the 7th spot with one of the early pit stalls, so he will bring it down and get his 4 tires. Now you see the 08 of Nagel going to bring his Toyota Camry to the attention of his crew. That will hand the lead over to David Brackett, who is Nick Mills, not too far behind, and currently in second, as we wait for them to make their first pit stops as well.
Yeah, so running a little bit later into it, and obviously David Brackett going to get bonus points for being a lap leader. Maybe that was the strategy. Oh, car spinning! That is Gary Jaworski sliding down the backstretch, and that's going to completely change everything that we just saw in this pit stop cycle. That absolutely just throws an absolute wild card into it for Gary Jaworski sliding down the backstretch. We have our first yellow of the race.
That's going to be a big sigh of relief for David Brackett, as now he's going to be able to bring it down pit road, but that is not what a lot of these leaders wanted to see. You see Jaworski now come up to turn number 2, and like I talked about in the freeway, the sun coming down, the exits of the corner is really going to start to catch these drivers off, and it catched him off guard as well, as he takes a slide down the back straightaway, keeps it off the wall, so no damage to number 18. He will get it back rolling, but that will ruin, well, not ruin, but we'll bring an end to our first set of green flag laps. We have gone halfway to stage 1, so a little bit cutting in half, not only with the pit stops but also with the cautions as well. You see the onboard of Jaworski, number 18, bring up to turn number 2, gets up towards the top end, tries to save it, overcorrects it, and luckily didn't go back up into the field and collect more drivers. So not really any damage done except to those Goodyear Eagles, as now he will probably bring it down pit road to get some fresh tires as well. Currently your leader looking to be the number 46 of Nick Mills. You see Joshua Abbey in front of him. That's just who the pace car picked up. He will keep his lap and possibly get the wave around to go back to the rear end of the field. Alan Dobbs, though, has made his way all the way back up to the second spot. John Kinder now in third with Lancaster fourth. Maurer going to be in fifth, and now Nick Mills going to bring it down pit road. And now the field has basically just reset to where it was before the pit stop cycle has begun, with Alan Dobbs, John Kinder, now John Kinder's teammate Adam Lancaster going to be lining up back in third.
The big difference here, Noah, is how much gain Nick Mills got out of waiting for that yellow. You saw him coming down pit road right now, but what it does is it allows him to take that pit stop, not lose a lap, not lose position on track to anybody who is further than a lap down. So definitely the wait paid off, the patience paid off for Nick Mills, just holding on, waiting to see if maybe somebody would get him a yellow that would allow him to take this opportunity to take a pit stop during a yellow, stay in front of all the lap cars, stay on the tail end of the lead lap cars, and also have the freshest rubber on the track.
The field now making their way down the back straightaway as we wait for the make our way back to 2 to go. As I hear the producer singing in my ear, got a little bit of a callback to the song, and that's a little funny to hear. As now we complete start lap number 60 here. Alan Dobbs, like you said, still your race leader. The pace car lights still on about 2 to green. I would assume you still wait for a lot of these tail end of the field cars to get the wave around, including that looks to be the number 52 of Justin Winters. So it looks like he's going to be able to keep his lap as he currently runs up in the 14th position of 52. You saw him have a little bit of issue there in the beginning of the field, and thanks for that. Now we can still wait for that 1 to green.
Yeah, so we're still waiting for the 1 to green. Everybody's still lining them up. You see the wonderful quote of the evening from our lead commentator tonight, Noah Carmichael. Good stuff to see, a little bit of fun being played here under yellow. Now this yellow is really going to change the way this race has been run, and it does make you think, are we going to see another yellow? We know cautions breed cautions. We know how short track racing goes. The field's going to be bunched up. There's going to be a complete mixture of fresh rubber that hasn't been used, some fresh rubber that has been used but not a lot, as they're gridding up right now, going side by side. So we will get the green flag this time by. I'm going to be watching to see the guys who pitted maybe a lap or two earlier than each other, how their tires are going to handle comparatively speaking. Is Nick Mills going to be making his way back up to the front of the field right here? How much aggression are we going to see? And what's going to happen here at the green, because we, sync double file, coming back to the green, anything could happen.
Alan Dobbs and John Kinder, just like the start, they will line it up 1-2 as the green flag comes back out. Dobbs gets the jump. He will take over the lead as now Kinder looks to hold on to second as Adam Lancaster now has to fight off Nathan Maurer there for the third spot as the field now makes its way down the back straightaway once again as Brandon Robertson boosts himself up into the fifth spot as now we await to see if we will have another caution or if we'll just run it green all the way to the stage end. But right now, Alan Dobbs currently strengthening his gap just like he did on the initial start.
You saw a little bit of skitter scatter there in the mid-pack. Everybody's kind of getting aggressive, going side by side, and they're not afraid to race each other right now. That fresh rubber is giving everybody a lot of confidence in the mid-pack, and I think that's the place that nobody wants to be. Don't want to be in the middle of that large group of cars, and that's why they're all trying to be so aggressive and get out in front of each other, try to get further away from the large group that we're seeing right now. Wyatt Brackett on the inside of Casey Barlow is on your screen out of turn number 2. Brackett's going to take that position, but I think the big thing is just that they don't want to be around too many other drivers off of the way that everybody kind of spread out, but still was trying to be aggressive and get positions out of that restart. You're on board with Nathan Maurer now, who's jumped his way back up into the top 3, so good stuff to see the Simbox machine holding on to the tail of the number 21 down the backstretch, and maybe we'll see if Nathan Maurer wants to try to put his car up into second, maybe even first. We could have a nice little battle for second or first coming up shortly.
Top 4 right now, all drivers who have yet to win a race this season. Brandon Robertson back there in 5th, the first driver to have a win currently as he makes the way for turn number 2. Those 2 drivers, it's usually been this kind of thing you've seen week after week after week, is those 2 drivers running up front but have yet to score a win this season, especially Alan Dobbs. It's been about 3 weeks in a row that he has led about the most laps, but yet has still been unable somehow or another to score that first victory of not only his Bluegrass career, but of the season to get himself into the playoffs. And right now, he's having to fend off a black and green machine of John Kinder in that Rims 1 Ford Mustang as they make off turn number 4, as Kinder still trying everything he can to get around him. We know how aggressive these 2 can be around each other, and they are bringing a fight with one another as we get ready to go. About 30 to go here in stage number 1, but not too far behind him is Nathan Maurer, who on a good night can be what you're seeing right now, and that is a contender to steal a win from these drivers. It was Casey Barlow a week ago, it was Brandon Robertson the week before. Who is it possibly going to be this week? It could be that number 97 Chevrolet.
Yeah, well, I'm still watching John Kinder hold on to Alan Dobbs right now. I think there's a lot of aggression coming out of that 21 machine right now. I'm wondering if that's going to pay off for Nathan Maurer if these 2 go as aggressive as they are with each other. Maybe their tires get used up a little bit quicker, and that gives Nathan Maurer an opportunity to make a pass as they come to the end of the stage, maybe get some stage points, get that stage victory that everybody's looking for right at this moment in time. You're looking at Brandon Robertson right now on your screen on the inside of Adam Lancaster, and Matt Grenier is a part of this equation as well. Lancaster into turn number 3 took advantage of it, but I think Brandon Robertson's going to be able to get a nice run off the inside, a little bit squirrely out of that corner, so not quite going to hold on to as much momentum as he wanted or needed to stay with Adam Lancaster, but you see how much better that 2 car is running through turns 1 and 2 right now. I think Brandon Robertson's giving us a really nice look at what it's going to take to get his car into 4th spot and keep trekking on to the front end of the field. We talked about it already. Brandon Robertson going to be charging to the front from his 11th starting position, and you can see on your screen very evidently Brandon Robertson is in the middle of doing just what we expected to see him do, and that is go to the front.
Looking out the window of the number 21 Rims 1 machine as he makes his way off of turn number 4, still trying to get everything he can to get the run, but it's just not being able to line up. He's able to get on corner entry, but he has to back out of it to avoid hitting the number 3, as you see right there, just as close as you can get it as they make their way towards turns 3 once more. He's going to have to try and do something here, whether he just bides his time and waits for the last 10 to make a move, or if he just tries to want to get it done right now. But regardless, just nothing being able to work off. He just can't get enough of a run off of a corner to make the pass work. As again, making their way down to turns 1 and 2, going to get right up to the back bumper, but just can't get to the inside as the train now rolling on here in Richmond, Virginia, as they make their way back through the final 2 corners to complete lap number 74, as it looks like Kinder might try and do something off of 4, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, Richmond's a tough place to make a pass on, even as much pressure as you can put on from John Kinder's position right now. It is just a tricky track to make a pass on, and I think that's showing on your screen right now. Maybe John Kinder is showing he's a little bit faster than that number 3 machine. Maybe he's just showing that he's got a good car that can stay right on the tail of another in front of him, but it's just a hard place to pass, and you're seeing how hard it is for John Kinder right now. That's why we've got this nose-to-tail action going on right now. Nonetheless, we are seeing a small gap building between them and Nathan Maurer, which is pretty cool to see, that they're able to push as hard as they are and hold on to a small gap to the number 97. As I say it just starts looking smaller and smaller on screen, but Alan Dobbs still holding on to the race lead. Only about 24 laps remaining before the end of this stage. We'll see if these guys can hang on to it. John Kinder maybe getting a little bit of a run on the outside, tried to duck it back under, doesn't quite get the momentum he needs to make that pass into turn number 3. You're on board still with the Rims 1 machine all over the rear bumper of Alan Dobbs.
As the laps wind down, oh, wiggle, and they both wreck into each other, and that's going to bring out a caution. We thought maybe they were going to get up onto the top side, as now, oh my goodness, this is not what you want to see out of these two. These two have bad history with each other, and that might just make it even worse, as the number 3 looks like he got loose off the corner exit. If he does get a little bit loose, tries to save it, and then just comes right back up into the 21, and that's going to cause major problems for them. As he goes right down, he's going to collect the 46 of Nick Mills, as you see Casey Barlow to 51 diving down low. So he's going to burn it right in front of the field, and that's going to cause major issues, but big implications for the end of this stage, as now Nathan Maurer finds himself with the race. So you look at the replay, exiting off at turn number 2. He was trying to make the run happen. He had the perfect position coming off of turn number 4, but I have to see what possibly maybe got him loose. Looks like maybe it was a little bit of the pressure from behind of John Kinder, but regardless, it looks like it might have been a little bit of contact on the rear quarter panel that upset him to shoot him back up into the path of the number 21. But regardless, major heartbreak for both of these drivers, as the list of contacts between these two adds up more and more and more, as that is really going to affect the outcome of this race.
Yeah, it just looked like Alan Dobbs got a little bit loose out of that corner, and that is a problem. Jesus, that is a problem spot. That is where the racing lines kind of all merge back together on the inside and outside. We'll see if we can just check out again how close that was to getting into contact with the car of that Alan Dobbs had about stopped in the middle of the racetrack. You're on board with Adam Lancaster. Oh, Lord, you couldn't have fit a piece of paper in between those two cars right there. I don't know how or why Adam Lancaster pulled that off. I'm not sure if I would have done it. That was a big risk that Adam Lancaster just pulled, trying to run through that as quick as he did to get past those stopped cars. And oh gosh, with that was exciting, at least to watch. But I'm sure Adam Lancaster had a code brown inside that car.
That could have easily taken out both the teammates of the 21 and the 28. That could have been a very big issue for both of them, as well as the number 3. The lead now going to be handed over to the number 7 of Ronnie Shirk Jr. He was a major factor in the outcome for the win, running up there towards the front of the field towards the end of that race. He finds himself now with the lead, as you're going to go green, possibly with about 15 to go. Again, now looking at the weather conditions, the weather has dropped a degree down to 72. However, the track temp has gone up. We are now at 77 degrees, the track temp. The wind's still playing a little bit of a factor, 6 miles an hour coming from the southwest as the sun comes down. But I'm surprised that we're actually seeing seeing a bit of the track temp come up. You think with the sun going down, the track temp to go down as well, but not quite yet, as now we've currently seen the race info. 2 cautions for a total of 5 laps, a lot better than what we saw from last week at Martinsville with about 26 cautions and 8 lead changes on the board here tonight. So we're seeing a lot more racing being played out here, a lot more green flag laps, which we love to see. It has been an incredible showing from these guys, which we used to seeing week after week after week, and they're pulling it off once again as the tension rises here for the stage 1. Is now the top 2 players in the outcome of this race have now been taken out of contention possibly for the stage 1 wins. Now it's anybody's game on who can get it done. Shirk right now going to line up with the race lead. Nathan Maurer, another heavy favorite. He's going to be in second. Matt Grenier going to be lining up in third with Brandon Robertson in fourth, and Adam Lancaster, who threaded the needle and almost could have had a double whammy, taking himself and Brandon Robertson out in that melee. He lines up back beside him, back in the fifth position, with Wyatt Brackett in sixth, Nicholas Noggle seventh, Wes Wigan in eighth, Casey Barlow in ninth, and Joshua Abbey in 10th.
And what that does is going to create a lot of butterflies for these guys. They've just gotten an opportunity in what they were initially looking at as an uphill battle to try to catch back up to Dobbs and Kinder. Is now Ronnie Shirk Jr. and Nathan Maurer looking at clean track in front of them. And while they've got each other by their sides, it's go time and everything's on the table now. It's become an entirely different race to the end of this stage. We're going to see off this green flag, the two of them side by side. And Ronnie Shirk Jr., well, so we're going to go one more lap under yellow here. They were double filed up already, but we delayed one yellow lap. So just the butterflies are just going to keep building for these guys. I think that not only them, but Matt Grenier, Brandon Robertson, the guys in the second row, even the third row back, just got an opportunity to make up 2 spots easily and then try to gain extra time off of that as we move towards the end of this with those 2 main competitors for the stage win prior to the accident out of contention now. I'm still watching guys like Adam Lancaster. Obviously, Brandon Robertson is a big factor in the entirety of the series, so now we'll see him in 4th place. Could very easily see him at the front by the end of these last 15 laps, but don't count out Ronnie Shirk Jr. and Nathan Maurer. They're going to be leading us back to the green flag right here.
Ronnie Shirk now, just like at Martinsville, he leads into the green as Vehicle Racing once again. We're not going to see the jump out to lead. In fact, they're going to go 2 by 2 by 2 into turn number 1. Nathan Maurer going to bring the fight off of turn number 2. As now we finally going to see a fight for the race lead. Maurer pulling ahead as they bring it to 15 to go. Robertson now throwing his hat in the ring. He's going to try and get on to number 7 of Ronnie Shirk Jr. Grenier not too far behind as they might go 3 wide now. Number 4, as all those drivers took tires, Ronnie tried to capitalize on the caution to try and take the lead, and right now he's being fed to the wolves right now as he's going to fall all the way back to third. Oh, he's going to get turned off of turn number 2 hard to the inside retaining wall. That's going to bring out our 3rd caution, and those no tire call not going to work out, and now it's going to end up being a lot worse for that number 7 finish line Wash Pros machine, as now we are back under caution for the 3rd time here tonight, as we are now going to go green with less than 10 laps to go in the stage.
Well, I said it during that first yellow, and I didn't want to make a commentator's curse out of it, but I think it's fair to say now cautions breed cautions. That's just what we saw right there. Ronnie Shirk Jr. took the opportunity to get to the front end of the field, not take tires, and he just got eaten up. As Noah said, got fed to the wolves on that restart. Everybody else with the fresher tires had a lot better cornering speed and ability to get back on the throttle there. Matt Grenier, one of those drivers included, and he just unfortunately got a really nice run off of turn number 2, and as he would with those fresh tires. But Ronnie Shirk Jr. in front of him did not, and that just doesn't play out well to have the car in front of you slower out of the corner like that. You're on board with Matt Grenier, so we'll see firsthand what it looked like from the 15 car. And yes, so Ronnie Shirk just absolutely couldn't quite get off of that turn as well, and Grenier just into the back of him. So cautions breed cautions, and it was just a tough break for Ronnie Shirk Jr. He tried to play a strategy move to get up to the front, to stay up in the front as the laps ticked off, to get to the stage, get to some stage points, get himself reset for the second half of the race. And unfortunately, just a caution and coming out of just the circumstance and unfortunate situation that just arose of what he tried to do to stay up front.
Something else I was going to point out that I saw before we saw the 7 go around was both Nathan Maurer out of Lancaster, if you saw on the replay there, they got loose coming out of turn number 2. Both those drivers also struggled to get off the corner. It looked like we're about to see the fight there between Robertson and Maurer, as Maurer just struggled to get the power down on corner exit as they make their way now down the back straightaway once again. Now looking back towards the rest of the field as we're going to go green possibly with 10 to go. You see your top 10. John Kinder now finds himself into the 10th spot because of that caution. Wes Wigan now up to 9th. Joshua Abbey 8th. Christopher Barlow going to be 7th. Wyatt Brackett 6th. Nicholas Noggle 5th. Matt Grenier going to be in 4th. Lancaster still holds on to 2nd. And Brandon Robertson in 2nd with Nathan Maurer still holding on to that race lead. As now you see that top 10. I'm looking now at the YouTube chat, so anybody who's in there, by all means, give a shout out to the driver who you think is going to end up with the stage 1 win. With the way it's looking and how fast he has been most of the night, I would not be surprised if it's Brandon Robertson going to steal the stage 1 win here with less than 10 to go to end out the first half of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're under caution here, just a quick shout out to our sponsors again: Tucson Sound Art, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, Whiplash Media. We appreciate all of your support and everything you guys do for us to help us get out here and broadcast these great races. And absolutely get down in that chat. Let us know who you're rooting for. Let us know who you think is going to be at the front for this stage and even for the race win, if you want to gamble as much as to make a assertion of who you think will be taking the checkered flag tonight. We've got 10 laps to go in the stage at the current moment. Obviously, we're not quite ready to go back to green flag racing, although we should in due time be able to see these guys set loose once more. And hopefully the race comes a little bit cleaner to all of these drivers as we get to the end of the stage from this restart. Hopefully we don't see another yellow, bringing us to the end of stage 1, and we'll get a nice battle out of the end of this one. It's setting up to be a good one. You got Nathan Maurer out of Pennsylvania in the Simbox Chevy on the inside. You got Brandon Robertson out of New England in the GM Goodrich number 2 Chevrolet on the outside. Definitely be watching those guys. Watch the guys behind them. Adam Lancaster, Matt Grenier are coming back to the green here shortly. So those guys would be the ones to watch, and obviously the rest of them behind them don't have any less of a chance to get up there.
Field now making their way back through turns 3 and 4 once more. The Ford Mustang pace car going to dive it down back into pit road. Robertson a little bit on the jump. He's currently poking a little bit ahead. That might be a black flag. He has to be careful with that, as now Maurer going to get hard on the gas as Robertson had to check up to avoid the black flag. He's actually going to lose a ton of spots out of that. That's going to promote Adam Lancaster up to second. That's also going to promote Nicholas Noggle, number 08. He's not going to dive into the inside of number 28. Adam Lancaster moving him up into second. As you see the crinkled up nose of the 08 machine as they make it off of turn number 4, as they're going to go wheel for the second spot, as right now Nathan Maurer going to try to defend off the entire field as we're now under 10 to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how many races I've seen that Nicholas Noggle didn't have some sort of damage on the nose of that car by the end of it. And it's just par for the course when you're an aggressive driver. You just can have a very easy time getting into somebody. CJ Mason around on the backstretch now. We're looking at another yellow flag drawn on this field. We'll get a replay to see what happened to the number 55. Oh, yeah, so he just cut down below the yellow line where the banking changes slightly, and it just offsets where the car's balance is and how the weight distribution is through the corner for the car. And just all on his own, CJ Mason dove in a little too far into turn number 2 and brings out another yellow here.
And there we see at the 71 as well, also got hit. A little bit of issues going on towards the back end of the field that brings out this 4th caution. You now see the replay for the number 71 Ford Mustang of Michael Brisson. He's going to bring it down into turn number 1, trying to check up for the 48 of Jack Bauer. Oh, the left rear of the car actually bounced off up into the air with the contact of the rear end of number 48, but that is going to shoot him up into the outside retaining wall. That's not what brought out the caution though, but man, tough luck for number 71. He's had a couple of rough weeks in that 71 machine. As you see him going down in there, just makes contact with the 48 and slides up into the wall. Was able to hold on to it to keep him going around. But that's going to bring us back under yellow here. You see Daniel Worthington possibly looks to be taking the lucky dog wave around. Still missing the entire front end of that 113 Jack Daniels machine, as we now have to get ready for another restart now with Nicholas Nago going to have to be the one to contend on the outside to try and take over this race lead, as we're now possibly going to go green with less than 5 to go in the stage.
Yeah, and these last few yellows, one thing that I've noticed is that the front row has changed on all of them. They're not the same 2 drivers beside each other when we come back to the green. So it's showing you that we're having some really good racing and some good competition up at the front end of the field. And as long as we can just turn them loose, get to the end of the stage, and then continue on from there to the checkered flag, we should be able to see some excitement come out of these cars. Nathan Maurer, fortunately for him, has been able to hold on to the lead in front of Nick Noggle for the time being. Don't count out that Toyota. Don't count out the 08 quite yet. There's plenty of time for Nick Noggle to try to get a little aggressive or push it down the inside a little bit get the nose on Nathan Maurer, get down the inside, make that pass, get that stage win. That's what it's all about right now. They're just trying to get to the end of the stage, take those points, and then they'll reset their strategy, get their mind in the right place, find a rhythm, and get to the end of it from there. But for the time being, there are points on the line just 3 laps from now.
Looks like it might go into green-white checkered mode here for the stage end, as now we are now with 4 laps to go here. Maurer still creeping in closer on getting the stage win here tonight in Richmond, as the rest of the field still just trying to catch up. 2 drivers also still catching up because of the spin. That's now going to allow John Kinder up into the 9th spot, and Alan Dobbs now finding himself up into 10th. So even though those 2 wrecked together, they still just can't find a way to get apart from one another. Those 2 have been next to each other all race long, whether that be for first and second, whether that be both of them colliding in the wall, or that just them trying to claw their way back up to the field. So we talked about them being out of contention for the stage win, but right now they're starting to prove me a little bit wrong, as little by little they have been able to move their way up into the top 10. If we now get the 1 to green, Ronnie Shark Jr. looking to be one of the few drivers who did take their way down pit road for whether that be fresh tires or fuel, or just a little bit of both, as now the field going to be off of turn number 2 as we get ready to go green here to end the first half of this race.
You're looking at Nathan Maurer, the leader, coming back to the green flag, this time on his outside, Nick Noggle. Nathan Maurer has some fans down in the YouTube chat, so we'll give a shout out to everybody rooting on that Simbox number 97 to the line. Adam Lancaster, Brandon Robertson line up behind them. Casey Barlow, Matt Grenier in row number 3. They come out of turn number 4. The field stacks up. Nathan Maurer bringing us really slow back to the restart, and back to racing we go. Adam Lancaster got a nice jump on the inside to stay with that front row. Nick Noggle holding his own on the outside, but relinquishes that time to try to slot down in front of Adam Lancaster. Doesn't quite work out there, but into turn number 3, the front 3 cars are going to be single file, or at least running in order. Out of turn 4 again to the line. Nathan Maurer holds on to it this time with Nick Noggle behind him.
Nathan Maurer still holding on to the race. The last lap here for the end of the first stage. Down the back straightaway they go. Can Noggle make anything happen? It looks like he has the run. Will he make the dive? Then A7 going to play protection on the inside lineup, forcing Noggle to go up to the high side. Not going to happen as they make their way off of turn number 4. And Nathan Maurer will take home the stage win as they bring it across the line. Caution will come out. So Nathan Maurer clinches the stage win here tonight. Nicholas Noggle in second, with Lancaster in third, Brandon Robertson in fourth, Casey Barlow going to finish it out in fifth, Matt Grenier in sixth, Joshua Abbey in seventh, John Kinder boosts himself up another spot to eighth, Wyatt Brackett going to take it home ninth, and Alan Dobbs is going to round out your top 10.
I am really impressed by John Kinder's run to get back up into the top 10. Obviously, everybody watching just as well as us in the booth saw what happened between him and Alan Dobbs, and what that setback meant for him at the end of it, at least, was just 7 spots. When you think about getting into a crash, having to fix your car, having to start from the back, and having to deal with all the cars in front of you, John Kinder did an excellent job to get back up into the top 10 and at least dig out a little bit of something for the stage. And you see him coming down pit road right now, so everybody's going to be coming in, getting some fresh tires on their car, or at least we think everybody is. Casey Barlow stays out, so that number 51 will take the lead over, but will have slightly older Goodyear tires on the car than the rest of them. But Nathan Maurer, your winner of stage 1, and maybe that's a precursor for the rest of his night. Maybe we'll see some good racing still out of the rest of the guys trying to catch up to him.
With that, we also have your stage winner, Nathan Maurer, in the staging area here, getting ready for the interview as we wait for this pit stop to end, as the race off of pit road now going to take place. Will he be able to hold on to the front? Yes, he will. So he will be the first car out of pit road. He will now line up in fourth, as now we're going to get a word with your stage winner. Nathan, you were able to steal away the stage win from both John Kinder and Alan Dobbs. How does that feel, being able to take home the points for the stage win?
Not really worried about halfway point. I just want to, I feel like I have a top 3 car here tonight. I just really would like to finish in the top 3 here at the end of the race.
Well, you saw what happened up there in the front. You're running in third when that happened. Just what was going through your mind to try and make it through that wreck, seeing both the 3 and the 21 spinning across the field like that?
I knew it was going to happen. stream. I got some guys watching. I explained to them why I was staying back a little bit. I did not want to go up there and battle with them because I had a feeling it was going to happen, and it did. And I'm sorry for them, but I'm happy for me.
Well, with that, you now are going to be the first driver on the Fresh Cheese as you get ready to go back green. What is the strategy to try and take home your first win and to clinch your way into the postseason?
Saving tires. I don't know. I felt like I was really faster on that first run when we had the green flag run. I started 10th and started picking guys off one by one up to P3 or P4. I'm not sure.
All right, well, before we let you go here to get ready for the restart, who do you have to thank for how your race has gone so far and how your race could go here for the rest of the night?
All my fans that watched, my dad, my buddy Tyler, my wife, and this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for my good buddy, the owner of Simbox Button Boxes, Doug Neal. He couldn't be here tonight, he's having computer issues, but this all wouldn't be possible without him.
All right, well, congratulations on the stage win, and hopefully we get to see some more out of you here towards the end of this race.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, so that's going to be your stage winner, Nathan Maurer. He will restart in the 4th position. The 3 drivers that did stay out, like we saw, the number 51 of Casey Barlow, the number 38 of David Brackett, and the number 52 of Justin Winters, who has now been able to move his way back up in the 3rd spot. We're going to see how that strategy works out for all 3 of them as the pace car lights do go off. So again, now it's going to be Casey Barlow going to lead the field to the green. Is he going to be able to ride the wave of momentum from his win on Martinsville, be able to lead a few more laps and hold off these leaders? We saw it happen with Ronnie Short Jr. tires in that work. Maybe we're going to see something different out of this 51.
Yeah, I do think that the tires maybe these guys have are new enough that they should be able to hold on at least for a little while with Nathan Maurer, who's got the freshest tires and is leading that charge of people who came down the pit lane. Coming to the end of this race, I wonder how the strategy is going to change between the cars in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd versus 4th, 5th, 6th. How much time they've saved themselves with these tires and not coming in on that pit stop as the race progresses. But the green flag comes back out. Stage 2 is underway. Casey Barlow with a great run off of the inside line for that restart. But watch the Allen's Body Shop, number 52, pulls up into 2nd place. Brandon Robertson's going to pull alongside and go 3 wide down the backstretch? Okay. Didn't quite know we were going for that, but you saw them. Nathan Maurer, Brandon Robertson, and David Brackett went 3 wide. Joshua Abbey's poking his nose into the picture for the time being. Brandon Robertson's on the outside there, so Nathan Maurer is going to have what we would assume to be a fairly easy time trying to get down the inside and make the pass on Brandon Robertson in through 3 and 4. You're on board with the Texan Joshua Abbey, just watching these 2 race each other, see if he can maybe pick 1 or 2 of them off as they come down the front stretch again and see how this race affects his run through the rest of these turns and try to see if he can get himself more towards the front.
Nathan Maurer going to be able to clear him off of turn number 2. He will now hold on to that 3rd position. Justin Winters, though, he is currently creeping closer and closer to number 51. Right now it's the 51 in 1st and the 52 in 2nd, so it's the battle of the 50s as they make their way down into turn number 1. Casey Barlow being able to hold on to that race lead, but Justin Winters, who's always been bad fast, he has not been able to get the start to the season that he would like. Right now, trying to be able to take over that race lead and get that points for the laps led. He is now creeping in closer and closer, but just unable to do anything. And now he's going to have to start to worry about the number 97 and Nathan Maurer. He is going to be getting bigger in the mirror as he's still just trying to hold on to it. We were talking about maybe the tires are a little bit fresher. Maybe they pitted before the stage, and to give him that shot. And right now, it's seeming to be working. They're able to hold on to that top 5 spot. And if they get this race goes green and they get to those green flag pit stops, that could be a difference maker in whether or not they finish in the top 10 or the top 20. Because right now, as the caution is back out, and then again, it is the number 18 of Jaworski as he looks to spin off of turn number 2 once more, as more problems for number 18 of Gary as they. Oh, we made contact with the 46 of Nick Mills. Catch 8 of Mitch Smith. He's going to spin right in front of the field as they evasively avoid the spinning number 18 car, so nobody else is going to get involved in that, lucky enough. But again, big problems for Gary as turn 2 just seeming to catch him off guard lap after lap.
Yeah, so Jaworski just coming up a little bit where Nick Mills already was, and Mitch Smith was a part of that too, but just barely. Brian Terry, I'll tell you, Brian Terry got really lucky he didn't get involved in that with Jaworski sliding up right in front of him. It looked like that number 13 would have very easily been a factor in that incident there, but Fortunately, Brian was able to get around Jaworski, but yeah, it just looked like a little bit too much momentum off the bottom of the corner in turn 2, and it's probably fine if Nick Mills isn't there, but obviously Nick Mills was there, and that just was the case that brings out this yellow.
That's going to keep Casey Barlow in the lead with Justin Winters there in second. And now you see the weather once again. The temperature still holding on to 71 degrees, as well as the track temp actually goes down a degree to 75, with the wind still blowing from the southwest at a consistent 6 miles an hour. You see, we're here from Richmond, Virginia, as we're still under caution. The 2 front runners going to stay out, as we are now under our 6th caution for 25 laps. You have seen 10 lead changes in total here tonight, as this race still runs on into the night. We have now passed through the halfway break. As you see again, the sponsors going across your screen. The Rims One Wheels, Tires, and Accessories. Been a very long time supporter of this series and the new people. He also has a sponsor for the halfway leader as well, so that prize will go to the number 97 of Nathan Maurer. The Milner Media and Designs Group, another new company that's bringing up the money to help sponsor this series. And again, very much thanks to those guys for being able to help out and keep these guys rolling through the season. And that's what you love to see also with our own Tucson Sound Art being a longtime supporter of us, as well as the permanent makeup of Cryo Maine, and obviously Whiplash Media as well, helping us be able to bring you these shots week after week after week, to be able to keep us in the booth, on the mics, and on all our various streaming platforms such as Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. All thanks to these guys right here, and thanks to these leagues as well, who give us the opportunity to call these races week after week after week. It has been a very fun time getting to broadcast with these guys, and I look forward to see how this season plays on, as now we complete lap number 115 as we get ready to green once again.
Absolutely, Noah, and these sponsors come out and they give everybody a chance to put some cards on the table and race for something here, but obviously we want to also extend that to the fans that come out and watch these races and enjoy rooting on their favorite drivers. We appreciate you guys coming out and spending your evenings with us, especially in the midst of the holiday season. We know that it's a family-oriented time of year, and so for you guys to come and share some time with your virtual family, your virtual iRacing family, maybe you want to call it, and root on some of these guys, or even we know we've talked to some of these guys that their families watch them too. So if you've got a family member in the race, we appreciate you coming out and tuning in and spending some time with us. And as we look to be about 1 to go at Richmond, 1-2 to go. Yeah, so the lights are out on the pace car. We'll be finally getting back to green flag racing, and we'll be able to see some action again on track.
We're now going to see how much these tires are going to be the difference makers in this race. And now Casey Barlow and Justin Winters are going to hold on to the front row. But right behind them are the battles of the fresher tires of Nathan Maurer and Brandon Robertson off of turn number 4. Casey's going to bring them to the green. Let's see how he's able to hold on to the race lead. Green flag back in the air. They're going to go side by side at turn number 1, but it looks like Barlow's going to be able to secure the race lead at turn number 1, as it looks like they might go 3 wide up on turn number 2, as Robertson trying to make the peak on Justin Winters.
Down the back and into turn number 3, they're still side-by-side up at the front end of the field, and it looks like they're side-by-side almost 3 rows back. Mac Rainier, the only one doing the tango on his own down the front stretch again. It looks like he'll have a run on Casey Barlow through turn 1. We have another yellow coming out on the track, so everybody's going to relinquish that speed. We'll see why we have our caution again, but just caution after caution at this point in time. That is Nick Noggle. No, my apologies. That is David Brackett in the wall on the inside of the front stretch, so we'll have to see why that National Guard car. Oh, Lord. So Brian Terry, you see him on the inside. Daniel Worthington on the inside in front of David Brackett. Gets into the back of Dakota Shepard initially. A nice save by Daniel Worthington. Dakota Shepard comes back up and into that 88 machine, but he's running. Now he's driving straight, and just a little too close for comfort with Brian Terry. John Kinder almost got involved in that as well. It didn't look like it was purposeful, but yeah, Dakota Shepard just in front of him. Not much he could do off of that. You're watching John Kinder's replay, so big checkup out of turn number 4. The yellow's already out at this point. Everybody's already calmed down, but just a little bit of a misjudgment. Oh boy. David Brackett was so close to just getting onto the bumper of John Kinder right there after the fact. I don't even know what John Kinder was thinking in that moment, that that car just comes down in front of him with the 88 just all of a sudden in front of him. But David Brackett, unfortunately, seemed like he had one of the longest stints of wrecking that we've seen in this season and in this series, of everything that just went down from the entrance of turn 3 all the way into the entrance of turn 1.
So now bring out the caution once again. Nathan Maurer going to hold on to the race. So it looks like the Casey Barlow has opted to bring the car down pit road to the service of his crew, so that will cycle the field back out to what we saw beforehand. Nathan Maurer going to hold on to the race lead. Matt Grenier going to be in second, with Brandon Robertson lined up in third. Wyatt Brackett going to be in fourth, and Joshua Abbey with a surprise up there in the fifth spot. A really good run out of him so far as we make our way through the rest of this race. Lancaster as well. Ryan Kendall in seventh. We saw a really good run of him at Vegas. Now we're trying to back that up here at Richmond. We talked to him as well after his stage win at, well, his top 3 finish at Vegas. He talked about that Martinsville wasn't his best race, and it obviously was not for him, but right now he's been able to back that up and have an even better performance here at Richmond. Tyler Reed going to be in 8th. Michael Ashcat in the 9th position, was Wes Wicken going to round out your top 10.
Yeah, so we're watching them come down the front stretch again here, and we just want to take a second here and ask all of you guys watching right now, who do you want us to talk to? Give us a chance to bring somebody into the booth. See what the drivers are thinking about right now. Let us know in the comments who you want to see us feature in the next yellow, which we maybe will get soon. We would like to have a green flag run for a little while. Obviously, like to see some nice racing action out on the track, but nonetheless, if we get the chance, tell us now who you'd like to see us bring in, and we can try to get some insider insight on what's going on inside the cars throughout the course of what's running down on the track right now.
A look again at your point standings as they run. Brandon Robertson still, again, your points leader coming into tonight. He finds himself running up there in the 3rd spot. Casey Barlow outside the top 10 now after bringing it down pit road under this caution. Travis Miller not here tonight. John Kinder, the first driver without a win, still looking to make his way in on points. Alan Dobbs back there in 5th. Both of them found contact with each other, so they're trying to rebound up there towards the front. Ryan Kendall in 6th. He currently finds himself inside the top 10. Daniel Worthington in 7th. Matt Grenier in 8th, with Wes Wingen in 9th, and then Ronnie Shirk Jr. in 10th. So a lot of the drivers that you see running up there in the top 10 in points, quite a few of them are still showing why they're up there in the top 10 in points, with this top 10 runner having right now here in the race.
Green flag, green flag.
As now we get ready to go green flag racing once again. As we are racing once more, we are under green. Nathan Maurer going to hold on to the race lead as they exit off of turn number 2, as the field now 3 wide back there for about the 4th position as we bring it down into turns 3 and 4. Grenier going to try to bring the fight to Maurer as they complete lap number 124, as they're going to bring it down to turn number 1. Will Grenier finally be able to get the pass done? No, he will not, as he actually backs off, so big problems for the 15. He's going to fall into the clutches of the rest of the field as they fight their way off of turn number 2, as the fight on for second on back is going to start to heat up as Nathan Maurer tries to open up that lead.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Grenier did to back off that much from Nathan Maurer, if that was purposeful or not. Maybe he just got a poor run out of turn 4. Maybe he did want to do that and put a little bit of a gap in between himself and the number 97, but he did almost fall into the clutches of Brandon Robertson and Joshua Abbey, so definitely not what he would have wanted to see right there, is to have that number 2 and number 5 all over his tail coming down into the corner. But you see Brandon Robertson still dealing with Joshua Abbey behind him. Adam Lancaster and Wyatt Brackett side by side. Brackett takes that position and gets himself into the top 5, at least temporarily, with Adam Lancaster back down the inside again. Now look at the run. We have a yellow.
Another caution on the speedway now as we wait to see what brings it out once more, as the looks to be maybe back there towards the rear end of the field. Once again, looking at Gary Jaworski and the number 18, also looking at the 46 of Nick Mills, and to make their way down into turn number 1. Running all the way down to the bottom, you see the 01 coming off of turn number 2. It doesn't look like to be any of them. I'm not sure what might have brought out this caution, as the field, yeah, it looks to be maybe a debris caution of all things. I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't look like to be anything that caused the wreck for a second.
Yeah, it seems like we're not quite sure what was going on there, but the yellow was waved, and it might have been done by somebody running the show rather than just on its own in the sim itself. But it does give us a chance to gather it up again. We didn't have much green flag racing, but we had a little bit, and it was really dynamic, I think, was what was happening right there, especially with the way Grenier had kind of spaced himself out from Maurer, seeing that strategy play going on. You're looking at a wide shot of the beautiful Richmond International Raceway at the current moment. Oh, so we're going to get a replay that might help us tell you guys, just as much as tell ourselves, what we're doing here under yellow. You're watching Brian Terry. You're looking at the 71. You're looking at Jaworski down the inside of Dakota Shepherd. And we're watching Gary. Okay, so there's some smoke. So that's helpful. We at least know that somebody might have spun out here. We'll try to see who it was back there.
A very interesting scenario is a little bit of where's Waldo and who is the guard that brought out this caution and to make the way off of turn number 4. There you see a little bit more smoke. Looking maybe possibly Casey Barlow, or it looks like it might be Wes Wagon, as he is off the pace and might have he got no contact with Wes Wagon. We do find it, so it is not a phantom caution. Wes Wagon just got a little bit sideways, and that was enough to trigger the yellow for the iRacing system. See him there making contact with the 15 Ford Mustang again in front of John Kinder, as that's going to bring out another caution here. So not really much that would trigger an actual caution, but just a little bit enough of an angle to say iRacing, put it out. So David Hoots again with his finger on the button, just ready to throw it out at any given moment. But again, that is going to re-rack him and re-stack him here, as now we're with about 80 laps to go here, or 70 laps to go, I should say, in this race, as they make their way off of turn number 4 to complete lap 130.
And that was that was a good save by Wigan to stay out of the grass and stay off the wall. Obviously got a little bit of contact, got the weight distribution a little screwed up on that car. That 88 machine just couldn't quite get out of it. And fortunately, he was able to correct it at least and stay out of a lot of trouble as they came forward. So what we're gonna do right here, we said we'd ask and see who we could bring in for in a quick interview in this caution, and we're gonna be bringing in the number 15 Ford Mustang. That's Matt Grenier.
Never mind. I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay, so Matt, we got you in the booth with us really quick under this yellow, and it seems like we've been having a couple yellows back to back, but you've been strong throughout the green flag stints we've got in between.
Yeah, I've just been trying to stay consistent. We've been trying to work our tire strategy, make sure that we're getting tires when we need them, and try to have the freshest to be up front.
And how is this yellow flag stint and the rest of them that are starting to stack up? How are they helping you with your long run strategy right now?
Well, we're saving fuel for sure, and the more laps we run on our caution, the less green flag laps we have on our tires, so it just pushes us out that much longer. And all we can do is hope for the best here.
Absolutely. So, Matt, we'll let you go back because we know you're about to go back to green flag racing. Good luck. Thanks for coming in with us, and good luck moving forward.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so that's Matt Grenier, and yeah, we're right about to get back to flag racing, so obviously we want to let Matt get back in that car, get focused, and ready to go on this restart. He's on the outside of Nathan Maurer, coming back to the green again. Maurer with a nice jump off the inside. Brandon Robertson's going to be giving some trouble to the guy we just interviewed on the inside. Joshua Abbey holding on behind him, but Grenier gets a great run off of the outside line through 1 and 2 and easily takes back second spot.
Brandon Robertson now having to fight off a pack of herd of Joshua Abbey, Wyatt Brackett, and Adam Lancaster for that 5th position, or actually the third position, as Nathan and I are going to bring the field back down into turn number 1. Grenier trying to close the gap to bring the fight to that number 97 machine, as we await to see possibly where Alan Dobbs and John Kinder. You see John Kinder back there running in the 13th position. Alan Dobbs actually already back in 28, so a little bit of issue with him that might have caused him to park that number 3 Chevrolet, so that's going to take out one of our front runners. Nathan Maurer, however, still holding on strongly to the lead. Adam Lancaster going to send it to the inside of Joshua Abbey on turns 1 and 2, so the fight now raging on for the 5th position. He's going to peek ahead down the back straightaway and possibly clear him, as now Joshua Abbey is going to have to try and find a way back to the inside line, as Ryan Kendall going to try and capitalize and take away the 6th position.
And there's a name we haven't really said a lot of words about tonight, is Ryan Kendall. And obviously he's a factor in the championship, but hasn't really shown the big show performance of getting up into the front end of this field just on speed. And he's doing so right now. He's all over Joshua Abbey. And it's good to see the 68 come up here. We see a little bit of some fresh cars from fresh drivers up at the front end, trying to tick off other guys and move towards maybe getting even into the podium or getting a victory. Ryan Kendall's been showing he has what it takes to compete with these guys, and for the moment, everybody in front of him was a season 1 contender of this season, of the series. My apologies. So he's contending with guys that have done this before with each other, and it's a whole different tango when you're well versed to the guys around you. But Ryan Kendall fitting right in, running now in 7th position, and just trying to take him off slowly and get up there with the rest of them.
Nathan Maurer still running away with the race lead as Grenier. Much what we saw with Alan Dobbs and John Kender, he can get up right to the back bumper, but just cannot get the corner exit speed to make the pass to set it up for turn number 1. So a big frustration for whoever's running in second behind the dirty air, but that is obviously everything you want to see the 97 of Maurer do. So the only thing that Grenier really has up his sleeve for a strategy to maybe get it off is just have the perfect run off the corner to make the move, wait for the 97 to possibly miss a corner, or just a good old-fashioned bump and run. But obviously we're way too early in the race to be seeing a move like that for the race lead. However, Brandon Robertson, though, starting to pick up the pace. You see him diamonding the exit off of turn number 2 and try and get the run down the straightaway, perhaps get a move set, as it's the battle of the tool brands now. Snap-on running up there in second with GM Goodrich Plus back there in third. As the Snap-on machine gets loose, that's going to allow Robertson to perhaps get something done. Not going to happen. They're going to hold on to the position that they have, with White Bracket not too far behind them, running in the 4th spot.
Yeah, and all these guys are racing with each other on the track. They're all tight together, but they're teammates. They're working together. And in fact, I even believe Brandon Robertson and Matt Grenier, if I remember correctly, went to college together, I believe. So these guys have known each other a long time. So that surely they're well versed to each other's racing styles. And surely they're being smart about the competition that they have between each other, because they know they especially don't want to take each other out above all the other drivers to be competing with, that they don't want to be taking each other out of contention, especially not when you're sitting in second and third. For the moment, they're holding on pretty well and staying pretty consistent, and it's just a rhythm track, so it's just trying to hit your marks every lap after lap and try to tick off maybe a 1/10 of a second every lap or so, and try to find where you're faster than Nathan Maurer, make that time up, try to get up there and in due time be able to make the pass. But there's plenty of race left, and there's plenty of time to make that happen, so these guys aren't really in a high aggression mode right now to try to get that done very quickly.
You're gonna have, and you see just a little bit of a fact here. You talked about they might have gone to college together. They did. They got a Plymouth State University together. I actually believe these two, they work a lot together on setups and preparing for these races. I actually do think they're teammates, despite the fact they run different manufacturers within this series, but obviously that doesn't separate the two, just whatever preference that you have. Regardless, these two know each other very well. They know how they race, and they know how to get the pass done, and without having to resort to a move for position with the bumpers. However, we make our way to 50 laps to go. As you talk about the pressure and the tension not building, well, they're going to have to get that up there soon, because we're now heading into the final portion of this race. Nathan Maurer still holding on strongly to that top spot. Matt Grenier still there in second, two of which a win could easily lock them into the post-race season. The postseason, as well as the playoffs. Brandon Robertson, the only driver in third right now, in fact, about the only driver in a top 10 besides Casey Barlow who does have a win in this series. So right now, the two drivers who do have a win are able in a position to possibly steal another win to keep someone from making their way into the playoffs. Right now, it looks like it's going to be between Nathan Maurer and Matt Grenier in the meantime as we again approach that 50 to go mark here for the race.
Yeah, and I wonder about the teamwork based off of that, because obviously Brandon Robertson, like you said, he's already got his win for the season, so he's into the playoffs. He's going to be good to make it that far. It's just about Matt Grenier right now, who's in second. He's running in second place right behind Nathan Maurer, two drivers who have yet to make that first victory and get themselves securely into the playoffs at this stage in the season. There's plenty of time left, and especially for drivers like Maurer and Grenier, guys who are able to get into the top 5 on a regular basis nowadays. These guys could easily get in no matter whether they win or not, but it just relieves a lot of stress to get that victory. And the speed we've seen out of the 15, the speed we've seen out of the 97, this is a good chance for them to do that. This is a great chance for them to be ticking it off. So they're going to be racing each other because it's, championship implications. And it's very important for these guys if they want to get some headway and relax a little bit about the rest of the regular season before the playoffs, is to get that win, which is 50 laps from now, going to be the talking point, and see if these guys are still racing each other for the lead like they are.
Now approaching the 50 to go mark officially. You saw a little bit with the cameras on the racetrack. They are starting to catch up to the tail end of the field again. First driver going to catch up to looks to be the number 13 of Brian Terry as they make their way back through turns 1 and 2. Now you see out the window of the 97 Simbox Chevrolet off of turn number 2. You can see a whole herd of them. Up in there is the 01 of Dakota Shepard. It looks like maybe the 46 of Nick Mills up there as well, as Brian Terry wisely moves out of the way, just allows the 97 to go by. We do have a pass back there for the third spot. Now we see one of the leaders shakeups as now Wyatt Brackett's starting to make moves through the field. He now gets himself up in third as second, third, and fourth. So actually, this is a very interesting thing. All of the 2 through 4th, both Grenier, Brackett, and Robertson, all teammates in this series. So they obviously know how to work well together, as now Robertson is going to bring it down pit road for what could be his final pit stop of the race. That is going to break apart the teammates for a bit, as now we get to see the split strategy on what works or not, as now Robertson going to try and pull the undercut to take the lead back from Maurer as he makes his way up for turn number 2.
Yeah, and we saw this 50 laps into the beginning of the race. We saw people coming in and starting a cycle. Oh, look out, almost into the wall, all the way up in 3 and 4. I'm not quite sure who those two were, but they were all the way up there. It looks like it might have been a little bit of contact bringing those two cars all the way up to the top of the track. So it was Alex Brown and Brian Terry. Those two guys maybe got a little bit of contact to take them up that high, or maybe somebody got loose and just a little bit of wreck avoidance. Luckily, nothing came of it. We stayed green flag racing. But the point I was talking on before that is we're watching now Justin Winters try to move forward in this field, currently sitting in the 6th position. You can see him all over the tail of Ryan Kendall. We saw 50 laps into the first stage, people started coming into the pits, setting themselves up for a long run to the end of the stage. And in this case now, we ran so far into the second stage with cautions, the tires have been preserved for a lot longer period of time. So I'm wondering, maybe was that the right move or not for Brandon Robertson to come in that early? Because by the end of it, unless he gets a chance to get new tires on that car, he'll have much more used up rubber when we get to the white flag.
Yeah, it was a very risky move. Also, someone in the chat pointed us out as well how much risky move that was. He needs to hope that this ends up being a long run, because you saw there, that could have easily been a caution between Brian Terry and Alex Brown in turns 3 and 4. And if that happened, that would have ruined the race completely for number 2, who was already a lap down. He's going to go now 2 laps down just because of the fact that that's how pit road works. He finds himself all the way outside of top 20 and 21st. Actually, only a lap down, so I was wrong about that. Usually, Bristol seemed to be the only track that you go 2 laps down on pit road. Nathan Maurer still holding on strongly to the race lead, as Wyatt Brackett trying to close down the gap at 2.5 seconds back, as Nathan Maurer just trying to bide his time and make these tires last. As now Wyatt Brackett going to dive down on the pit road, so he is the second of the leaders to move to the pits. Matt Grenier going to take back 2nd, with Adam Lancaster in 3rd, just the winner up to 4th, and Joshua Abbott a 5th. And Casey Barlow, who pitted a couple cautions ago, now finds himself up into the 6th spot, fighting his way into this race once more.
Yeah, Barlow was up front earlier on in the race, and obviously, as you can see on your screen at the bottom, he did at one point have the race lead. He fell back a bit and was kind of quiet for a while in this one, but now we're seeing he's starting to charge his way back up to the front. He's got Joshua Abbey right in front of him, Adam Lancaster, Justin Winters up there with those guys. So he's got 3 cars in his sights right now that he can focus in on making passes on, and especially with the way they're coming down pit road and ticking off in front of him. You saw Adam Lancaster relinquish his position to come into the pits and get some service on that number 28 machine. So it's just a slow going process for Casey Barlow to get back up to the front of the field here throughout the entirety of this race. And the patience game seems to have paid off because he's on the charge right now and he's making some noise. Obviously, not quite as much noise as Nathan Maurer, who's got a much larger lead over second place as the car that was sitting there. Matt Grenier comes into the pits to get service. So we're starting to see a little bit of a pit cycle starting up right here.
Cars dove in behind him and didn't get a chance to see exactly who that was. Now there you see it. Nathan Maurer going to make his way down pit road. He's staying out about 10 laps longer than Brandon Robertson. It's going to hand the lead to Justin Winters, who ran a little bit wide off of turn number 4. He's going to lose the lead. Joshua Abbey leads that lap, so Winters still unable to get that the lap lead point. Is now Abbey going to take over the first spot. Casey Barlow is now going to promote himself to second because of that, and Abbey at the point, he takes it down pit road. That's going to hand the lead back to Casey Barlow. As now we're under caution as it's Adam Lancaster going around. So now the question, did Joshua Abbey make it into the pits by the time the lights went out, or does he have to do the drive-through and go back under caution? That's going to be a big gut punch for the 5 machine as the 28. Oh my goodness, that is a rough hit. Just a little bit of a loose into turn number 1, overcorrected, hard on the outside wall, clipped it into the wall, and bounced right back up into the track. Luckily, he was on his own for that wreck, but that is a vicious hit for the number 28 Ford Mustang with Vico on board with him.
Yeah, that is certainly a big hit, and you saw Lancaster was just trying to correct the car and not lose it. When he went into the turn, he got a little squirrely in the tail end and into the corner. He tried to correct it and not lose it. In through the corner, he just overcorrected a little bit more than he needed to. You're watching on board. You can watch that steering wheel. Well, so now we're on the outside to check out losing the rear of the car, corrects it, and just straight on into the wall. And then, like Noah said, a little bit of clipping going on with that outside wall on the simulator. Adam Lancaster got shoved back out. Very, very lucky that nobody was within a vicinity to be a part of this wreck. So now we're back inside the car, and you can watch him try to correct, and just corrected a little more than necessary in the 28 car, Adam Lancaster. I wonder how he felt sitting inside of the machine and getting clipped into the wall, and then all of a sudden he's looking backwards down the track. Certainly an interesting view out of that car, but we're still watching to make sure Joshua Abbey is safe with his pit stop cycle.
Yeah, that was a very interesting time to make the way down pit road, especially for Abbey. Right as he hit the cone, it looks like he will be able to take service, get his possible final pit stop. Robertson making an interesting call as he comes down pit road. He does have those extra tires. He's only pitted about 2 to 3 times. So they still have about 3 to 4 tires depending on how many times you opt to go down, as this is his 4th pit. So he's going to have 2 tires left for the rest of the race, but now he's going to have to try and work his way down and make his way back up to the field, as he's going to have to see how that works out. Joshua Abbey, you see, still holding on to the race lead, so that actually was a really opportune pit stop for the number 5 machine. Casey Barlow going to be in 2nd, Justin Winters in 3rd, Tyler Reed going to be in 4th, Ronnie Shirk Jr., who we saw have the lead for a good bit of the first half of this race, got caught out with the older tires, was caught on the back bumper by Matt Grenier just because of the slow corner exit, and shot him all the way to the rear of the field. He's fought his way back up into the top 5 with the number 55 of Corey Mason in the 6th position. Lining up back there in the 7th will be Wes Wiggin. 8th will be Nick Mills, who has fought back after a rough contact with Alan Dobbs when he spun out across the field. Brandon Robertson, even with the pit stop, he is going to come out in 9th, and then Nathan Maurer going to round out your top 10.
Yeah, so we're looking at a pretty good shakeup, and one of the things also was Brandon Robertson getting a pretty big break right there. I know the chat here on YouTube is mentioning the benefit that came out of that for Brandon Robertson. We talked about it when he came into the pits because he came in so much earlier than everybody else on this final cycle that if we went green the whole way, he would have to deal with much older tires than the rest of them. As you're seeing, everybody who's not behind the leader is getting the wave around right now to catch up to the tail end of the field rather than sitting in between the pace car and the leader of this race, Joshua Abbey. So Brandon Robertson benefited greatly off of what just happened with him being able to come down, get fresher rubber, and have better tires to run out the ending stages of this race.
The pace car light's going to be off once again. He's getting ready to make that hard left turn down pit road. That's going to hand the field back to Joshua Abbey with Casey Barlow alongside him. All eyes on Barney, the flagman, to see when Joshua Abbey makes his move for the restart. His first time leading the field back to green. We will go back racing. Abbey looks to get a good jump on Casey Barlow as they make their way down to the turn number 1. As it looks like Justin Winters now going to take back second.
Winters got a really nice restart on the inside. He holds on to the Texan in front of him. Joshua Abbey is leading the way, but just barely over Justin Winters. Casey Barlow jumps in line for third spot, and it looks like Ronnie Shirk Jr. is going to be holding on to the 4th position. Tyler Reed rounding out your top 5 with that. But you're looking at the number 5, Joshua Abbey leading laps. Justin Winters just in behind him and trying to make a nice run off of turn 2. He did gain a little bit of time on the inside. Somebody went way high in turns 1 and 2, but still looking at your race leader, Abbey's got a slightly wider run into the corner, but ducks back down again at the exit. That allows him to hold a little bit more momentum in that car in the front stretch, or at least the D-shaped portion, quote, front stretch, unquote, and the back stretch itself. Justin Winters staying on the tail of the red number 5 down the backstretch again. Maybe he's just trying to run out the last couple laps of this race before he makes that pass. Although in the middle of the corner you saw there, Justin Winters had a lot more momentum going through the middle and catching back up to the 5.
Justin Winters all over the back bumper of that 5 red Camaro as they make their way down turn number 2, down the straightaway into turn number 3. Trying to do everything he can. First, it was John Kinder in the black and green Ford Mustang trying to take over the lead from a Chevrolet Camaro. Now it's another Chevrolet Camaro that's black and green trying to fight off the red Mustang as Brandon Robertson sets the fastest lap. So we're wondering a bit of the tire strategy call that he made. Well, obviously he's paying off because he just set the fastest lap of the race, knocking down Alan Dodds from that position as he finds himself back there in the 8th spot. But Justin Winters still trying to take over that race lead to get a lap led here tonight. Just haven't been able to do so as he still tries to get around Joshua Abbey as best as he can. But Joshua Abbey just having a run of his life here tonight.
Yeah, Joshua Abbey is holding on and doing a great job up front, but I think one thing that's really dangerous right now is the amount of time that Brandon Robertson has and the tires he's got on that car. Obviously, setting the fastest lap, you're in your zone. I mean, you're rocking and rolling right now, and Brandon Robertson's one of those guys you can't give a lot of time to if you want to keep him behind you. So everybody from 7th on up, CJ Mason up to Joshua Abbey, might want to start thinking, what am I going to have to do to keep Brandon Robertson held back? Because he's coming from 8th place right now. He's already made his pass on CJ Mason. As I say that, we see that Brandon Robertson makes that pass, and Wes Wiggin is going to be the next driver to watch for the number 2 machine. You're still watching off of Justin Winters' roof that Joshua Abbey seems to be running his corners in a way that allows him to make a gap on the straightaways, and then Justin Winters gains time in the corners. But the front stretch is where the start-finish line is, so if you come out of the final corner and you have the opportunity to do that, obviously Joshua Abbey is going to be holding on to the race lead past the stripe. And as Brian Terry all the way up to the wall, oh boy, they were right there with each other, and they're side by side for the race lead now. Brian Terry's going to slide up and let everybody get out and by. That lets Casey Barlow catch back up to this race, but that was almost bad there. No, that could have been a problem.
And because of that, it's going to allow Joshua Abbey to have to fight off Justin Winters, as Winters finally had an opportunity to take the race lead. He was peeking on the inside, could not clear him or even get the run into turn number 1. He's going to try it again with no use. Joshua Abbey, being the dirt track junkie, he is obviously treating this as much as he can as a slick track, sliding it through the corners, the track requiring a lot of throttle rhythm control, and right now he is utilizing that as much as he can. As with 20 to go, he has really thrown his hat in the ring to become a first-time winner here in the Bluegrass iRacing Series. He has waited a long time for an opportunity like this to arrive, and he is utilizing it as best as he can, as he is refusing to yield down to Justin Winters.
About 20 laps to go in this race, and I think that's a big factor that you mentioned there, Noah. As you see, they're side by side through turns 1 and turns 2. Justin Winters going to have a preferred line into turn number 3. Maybe Abby lets him go because he knows that. He tries to slide in for second spot. Casey Barlow gave him a little bit of pressure on the inside, but it does go into the favor of the number 5 machine. And that is something I think is important to think about, is Joshua Abbey has been running in this series since race 1, season 1, yet to get a win. It's time. It's feeling like he must certainly feel like it's his time to win a race. And being the leader for so long right there, having as good of a car as he does, I'm sure he just wants nothing more than to get to the line first.
But right now he's going to have to try and catch back up to Justin Winters. As Winters now starting to spread the gap a little bit. Ronnie Shirk Jr. back there in the 3rd position, closing down the gap little by little. Expect the move out of him maybe. Here comes Brandon Robertson, make the move around Tyler Reed for the 5th position. So he has been clawing his way through this field, and with little under 20 laps to go, he has now fixed himself to be a favorite to take home this win. Casey Barlow ahead of him up there in the 4th position, as it is a 3-car tango up there for the 2nd position, as they make their way down to the turn number 3, as Casey Barlow still trying to get all he can to get around Shirk Jr., but Shirk still being stuck behind Joshua Abbey, as Justin Winters just sailing away with the race lead.
Yeah, Justin Winters definitely has let himself go and has let these guys group up behind him, and he's using that to his advantage right now. It seems like the name of the game right here. You talked about the dirt track aspect of a slick track. It's all about throttle control. It's all about weight control. Where is the weight distribution on the car sitting? How are the tires doing? Can you keep enough traction on them as you make your run through the corners? Obviously, the tires get used up. They get old. They get less good and less grippy, and that allows the car to slide more. So then it comes down to more of a technical driver input type of situation. And when that starts happening, it comes down to throttle control, not giving yourself too much gas, but still allowing yourself to get a good run off of the corners, which is what Joshua Abbey was trying to do the entire time, was allow himself to get a good run off the corners without losing grip and without spinning to the inside of the track. Ronnie Shirk Jr. is showing on your screen right now. He can do just that, and if not better, because he's catching up to these guys. He's putting pressure on Joshua Abbey. We watched him pass Casey Barlow for 3rd place, and I think with only 15 laps to go is certainly the time where you're going to start showing your stuff and strutting it, and I think Ronnie Shirk Jr. is doing that right now.
You talked about a little bit of the dirt aspect playing a factor into this race. Well, that does play into the history of Richmond Raceway. It opened in 1946 originally as a dirt track. It lasted like that for a little over 20 years before being paved in 1968. It ended up being a little bit expanded to help with the pit road due to the expanding entry list of NASCAR competitors. With the tight pit road, they ended up expanding it to allow the whole 43-car field, and this is what you get today with the D-shaped oval. But you talk about the dirt racing aspect, obviously that plays a big part into the history of this racetrack. It was almost 10 laps to go. It looks like it's going to be the Kentucky native of Justin Winters, who might finally get his first win as they make their way down into turn number 1. Casey Barlow still trying to do everything he can to get the move done on Ronnie Shirk Jr. as they run down the straightaway, but still Justin Winters just having an incredible comeback race. We talked about at the beginning of the race, he has not had the start to the season that he would have liked, and what a better way to get back into the swing of things by getting a win here at Richmond here tonight.
Yeah, so he'll come to the line and he'll have 10 laps to go next time by. He's built himself a nice 2.5 lead over Joshua Abbey, who led for so long, and even still, Joshua Abbey should be very proud of the run that he had tonight. We're coming to the line now, so this is 10 to go officially for your man Justin Winters in the number 52 Chevrolet. Just been classy, but been patient. And he didn't really try to push himself to get to the front as quickly as some of the other guys we might have seen throughout the course of this race. I do think that the Alan Dobbs John Kinder incident had a pretty big factor in the way that we're looking at this running order right now. But even still, it's just been a slow going process. It's just been patience. It's about throttle control. It's about driver skill. It's about knowing what to do. It's about some luck with strategy. It's just everything that's been playing into each other now. Justin Winters is not only holding on to a big lead, but still making it bigger with almost 8 laps to go.
We talked about that after the halfway point. He opted to stay out alongside Casey Barlow, and I believe it was Ronnie Shirky Jr. as well. Those three had opted to stay out under caution to try and pull off a strategy upset. They had the green flag run that they needed, and now look at how that has wound up. Justin Winters holding on to the race lead. Ronnie Shirk Jr. back there in third, and Casey Barlow in fourth. So they had that green flag run and has given them the opportunity to come home with an incredible top 5 finish. But obviously the man of the night has to be Justin Winters for how well he has held on to that 52 Allen's Body Shop Chevrolet Camaro. He has came so close to having a couple wins under his belt this season, but just hasn't been able to put it together. He came so close to winning the championship a year ago in Kentucky, became up just short. But tonight, he has finally found himself in a position where he can clinch his way into the postseason and have a shot at this Bluegrass iRacing. And now we're going to have a late race caution, so the commentator's curse strikes, and we wait to see who that is. It looks to be the number 81 of Michael Ogset, who brings out what could be the final caution here tonight as he goes spinning in turn number 3. He's a little bit loose off the back end of John Kinder, who gets collected in that as well, but a very ill-timed caution that's going to line us up for another restart.
Yeah, that was a tough break right there for Justin Winters. I was about to say it myself. I was going to say, if we get a late race yellow, everything just gets thrown out of the window. And yeah, so John Kinder just moved over a little bit there on Michael Ogset, and the resulting happened. And Michael Ogset in the wall, John Kinder involved in that one. I think everybody around them got out of it clean. Scott Fritz, we'll see if that Raise Energy number 1 car was involved at all, but yeah, just coming out of the corner, it's a tough spot coming out of turn number 2 to try to get your car centered up and get it straight for the backstretch, get a nice run off the corner and everything. And obviously just, cars come together, and a late race caution is going to be bringing everybody back together at the front. I think Joshua Abbey is going to be using this as a great chance to contend for the win again. The rest of the guys behind him, even Ronnie Shirk Jr. might have a chance. Casey Barlow might have a chance. This just absolutely throws a curveball in the ending of this race.
Another curveball to add in here is the fact that Joshua Abbey has opted to come down pit road, but now we're going to have a chance to talk to our current race leader, one Mr. Justin Winters, as we get him into the booth. Justin, you've had a rough start to the season, but tonight you finally find yourself in a position to get the win. What is the strategy to try and pull off the win here tonight here at Richmond?
Try to hold everybody off for this green. Looks like it might be a green-white checker, so we'll see what happens.
You're able to pull off the pit strategy in the middle of the race to stay out. How was it just trying to hold onto those old tires to stay up there with the front with those leaders for that green flag run?
I've done a pretty good job of saving my tires, so I wasn't really concerned. I made a mistake on lap 8 and got into the inside wall. That was silly, but that kind of put me in recovery mode, and I just kind of repaired my car the best I could and saved my tires, and then I ended up back in the front on, like you guys said, strategy.
And as we get ready to come down here for what could be the last restart, what is the strategy to try and outrun Ronnie Shirk Jr. and even Brandon Robertson to try and take this win?
We'll see if we can hold them off. It'll be interesting.
All right, well, before I let you go here, just real quick, who do you have to thank for how your race has gone here tonight and what's been able to put you out here on this track?
Allen's Body Shop, Boots Industries, and if I can pull this one off, it'd definitely be for my Uncle Allen. It's in the hospital. Thoughts and prayers out to him, so I'm trying to pull this off.
Absolutely. Well, good luck here on this final restart. Hopefully able to put on a good show, and hopefully we get another chance to talk to you after the race.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for doing what you do.
That is going to be your race leader, Justin Winters, as we are about what could be the 2 to green mark. It is going to be Justin Winters. We talk about your race leader. Ronnie Shirk Jr. now finds himself in a good position to probably take a win there in second. Casey Barlow, your winner from Martinsville, riding on that wave momentum we talk about. He finds himself in third. Your Vegas winner, Brandon Robertson, in fourth. And then Tyler Reed. And obviously with Christmas right around the corner, he's running a Charlie Brown Christmas Ford Mustang. So obviously getting into the spirit of the season, and right now he finds himself running up there in fifth. So how much of a Christmas miracle would it be for him to be able to come back from fifth, take home this race win, as we are now 1 to go for what could be the final restart of the night.
The field double files up again. This will be the first attempt at getting your field to a green-white checkered finish. It might be the first of a few. We'll see if we have to do it again. I wonder if Joshua Abbey might have been betting on that for taking that pit stop and giving up the track position. They're coming through 3 and 4. Abbey jumped all the way down outside of the top 10 with that strategy call. But Justin Winters, Ronnie Shirk Jr. lining up on your front row, coming back to the green. They're going to be 2 laps at the stripe. Casey Barlow, Brandon Robertson in behind them. Look at the jump that Justin Winters got on the field. He definitely needed that to stay ahead of him. Ronnie Shirk Jr. now going to have to try to hunt him back down in through 1 and 2.
Justin Winters now down the backstretch once again, really tight off of turn number 2. That's going to allow Robertson to take over the 3rd spot. They're still fighting side by side, tooth and nail. Here comes Nathan Maurer, but out front, the white flag, and we are under yellow again. So we're going to go under caution. We're going to have another shot as will be officially within the overtime regulation, as it looks like it might have involved Ryan Kendall and Gary Jazowski as they make their way off of turn number 2, as we wait to see what could have caused this yellow. You see the smoke up. Oh my goodness! The 9 absolutely getting shot into the air off the 71 of Michael Brisson, as that was a melee of a wreck taking place down there in turns number 3.
Yeah, that was a big wreck right there. A lot of cars involved in it. Josh Abbey kind of makes a group out of everybody, getting a little loose in turn 2, and then just running out of room with the number 9 machine. There were multiple car-involved accidents going on as this happened, because you rode with Bryce Hunter right there. You saw what happened to the 9, but you didn't quite see what happened to Ryan Kendall on that exact replay. They are 3 wide in through 1 and 2, and then this is where Abbey just hooks the number 9 machine a little bit, and there's Ryan Kendall, there's Scott Fritz, there's Daniel Worthington getting into it, the 71 of Michael Brisson. So it looked like, as that all unfolded with the 9 car, it looks like Abbey might have just come back up in front of all these guys when they all grouped back up together. It looks like, yeah, so Bryce Hunter and Abbey just absolutely ran out of room, and Bryce Hunter went for a wild ride through turn 3 right there.
We've always had wild moments take place at short tracks. At Martinsville, it was the last lap caution that we saw. At Bristol, it was when Casey Kane rode the fence. Another incident would have to be Rockingham, when Carl Long had that wild ride down into turn number 3 flipping. And tonight it's Bryce Hunter getting airborne up into the fence into turn number 3 as a wild ride. It used to be the spectator climbing the fence, and now it's Bryce Hunter going up into it. Thankfully, there's no fans in stands here tonight at Richmond Raceway. As you see, get turned there into the inside retaining wall, and then just fed back up into the field with people just nowhere to go, having no idea he was going to shoot back up that quickly. And that was basically a replay of, I believe what it was, the 2008 wreck, where I think it was Juan Montoya getting spun down into the inside tire barrier and shooting back up across the field because of where the wall for the ambulances stuck out and shooting back across the field, causing that parking lot in turn 3. But regardless, that is now going to set us up for what is going to be our first overtime finish. And now Justin Winters, he was able to catch Ronnie Shirk sleeping on the last restart. Let's see if he can do it again to try and clinch this win finally.
Yeah, and I just talked about Joshua Abbey before that restart, and his sideways slide in the in turns 1 and 2 was tough on him, and it obviously got him loose and caused that whole ordeal. We've got Casey Barlow on hand, so we'll quickly bring the 3rd place running driver into our call here. And Casey, you're sitting in 3rd place, maybe a catbird seat for you on this green-white checkered attempt. What are you going to do to try to get up to the front right here?
To be honest with you guys, I'm not really sure. We're going to try and keep it clean, try and race these guys tight, and see if we can come away with a podium or a win here.
The tough part does seem to be staying with Justin Winters on the restart. He certainly wants to get ahead as much as he can, and he will take any opportunity he can to do so to try to keep his car up front. How important do you think your restart is going to be compared to that 52 to have a chance at taking him in through the last lap?
That's going to be real important. Last restart there, I didn't get a very good restart. Tried firing off in 3rd, didn't really like it. So we're going to change it around here and see if we can run with him tighter.
Absolutely. So you get a chance to reset and try again with the restart opportunities. And Casey, we're going to let you go, get focused, get back into the zone for this green-white checkered. Good luck, and we'll see you at the finish.
Thanks, guys.
So there you go, your third place runner, Casey
Angry
Barlow.
Asian.
And we're going to have the pace car pull off now. You're watching Justin Winters out the front of the number 51, Ronnie Shirk Jr. to his outside. There's the go, there's the green. And Casey Barlow wiggled a little bit coming off of that restart. Ronnie Shirk Jr. jumped down. There is a pretty big gap in between first and second going into turn number 1. Nathan Maurer now holding it back a little bit in the 5th spot. Barlow with the run from Robertson around the outside, going to fall back to 4th spot. Coming to the white flag, Justin Winters still holding on to it. It looked like there might have been a little bit of contact further back, but the white flag comes out. Justin Winters leads us into turn number 1.
Winters finally getting the white flag he's waiting for. He has to try and hold off the Ronnie Shirk Jr. for one more lap. Down the back straightaway they go. He has waited a long time for this moment after the upset in Kentucky where Travis Miller was able to hold on to the championship lead. He has come into the season with a new set of spirits but having unable to get the win until tonight. Out of turn number 4, Justin Winters wins here tonight at Richmond, and Ronnie Shirk Jr. going to bring it home for an incredible second place as the fireworks go off on turn number 2. Brandon Robertson third. Casey Barlow holds on for 4th with Wyatt Brackett rounding out in 5th. But the story of the night, Justin Winters finally finds his way back to victory lane for the first time this season and clinches his way into the postseason.
A great run from the number 52 machine, and it's just about being patient and having control over that car. Justin Winters wasn't necessarily at the front in the early stages of this race, but he certainly held on and took opportunities where he could, and that's what gets you to the finish. That's what gets you the win. So congratulations to Justin. We're going to watch him burn it down here on the front stretch. He well-deserved victory for the 52.
We talked about how much it meant to him to get this win with his uncle in hospital. Obviously, this wins for him. I cannot imagine the emotion going inside the number 52 Allen's Body Shop Chevrolet Camaro. He has been so strong all season long, but has just not been able to get the result that he wished for. And tonight, he finally gets it done. It was his first win of the season after an incredible restart to catch Ronnie Shirk off guard, and now he's gonna burn it down here in the state for lovers.
Yeah, absolutely. A well-deserved and a prolonged good burnout right here. I'm sure you're right about the emotion, though. I'm sure that there's just a lot going on for him. And this sort of situation really drives your mental state. It drives your motivation. And what Justin Winters has been able to do right here is he's been able to hook himself into the playoffs and get himself into the next round. So good stuff for that as well, that Justin Winters gets to relax a little bit as we continue the regular season, move towards the final playoffs. And you saw the motor blow out at the very end of his burnout right there. So you know Justin Winters is pushing that car hard to have some fun on the front stretch to celebrate this victory.
And as we bring it off of see the field coming back to the start finish line, obviously an incredible night of action, especially from what we saw last week. Just a well-deserved race by everybody tonight. An incredible finish and just long green flag runs. What we've come to see out of these guys, just close, action-packed racing. And with that, we're going to send it to a quick break to catch our breath, restack the field to get ready for our post-race show. Keep on watching, and we'll see you here in a bit as we get ready for the post-race show to wrap it up here in Richmond.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back, race fans, to PitStop TV with the live post-race coverage here after an incredible 200-lap thriller here in the Old Dominion State. With that, we're going to jump straight into our post-race interviews, and starting us off, we're going to welcome in your race winner, Justin Winters. Justin, we had just talked to you before the last restart about how much this one would mean to you. You finally get it done. Just what emotions are going through your mind right now, having finally captured your first win of the season?
It's about time. I'm glad we got back up here to race with up front, kind of stunt racing at the back.
We saw you had an incredible restart. You were able to catch Ronnie off guard twice, be able to pull out with an incredible race lead. How were you able to pull it off? And then just how are you able to keep control of that car with what we know probably was a good bit of emotion trying to capture this first win and finally clinch your way into the postseason?
Yeah, just steady. Spotter was telling me, you got this, steady. And we was able to, like you say, catch him off guard, change up our 2 starts. And we were able to pull out to, a 2-3 car length and make sure we didn't overdrive the corner. Seemed like some guys did that on restarts. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't overdrive anything and protect my car and make sure it's stable. We were able to pull away at the end.
And with that, you finally have clinched your way into the postseason. With that, you have the rest of the season to try and build your way up, to try and strengthen your chance of winning the championship. What is now the game plan for the rest of the regular season as you get set for an incredible, thrilling playoff picture?
Get as many wins as I can. Get it now. It's to butter up that points that I can. It's a little bit different last year. I had a lot of success in last year's point system now. So it's just, let's get more wins and get more bonus points. That way we're at the top of the leaderboard when the playoffs start.
All right, well, before we let you go here to celebrate your first win of the season, just who do you have to thank for everything that's happened here tonight and route to your your first win tonight?
First and foremost, all glory goes to God. And then my Uncle Alan that's in the hospital, I hope he was watching. If he wasn't, that one for him. Alan's Body Shop for being on the car. Boots Industries for letting me put their name on the car. And, Huffman Designs for painting the car. He always paints awesome cars. Jason and Nick for putting on Bluegrass. I appreciate you guys broadcasting this league. You guys do a great job, and I appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you very much. Congratulations on your first win here tonight, and we look forward to seeing more out of you as we head over west to the Midwest here, Kansas, in a week's time.
Yes, sir. You guys have a Merry Christmas.
Absolutely, and you as well. That'll wrap it up for our winner here tonight, Mr. Justin Winters, and for that, I'll hand it over to Joe Donahue, who has a probably exuberant Ronnie Shirk Jr.
Hello, friends, and yes, indeed, we've got Ronnie up in the booth with us. Ronnie, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. Hey, how are you doing?
All right, Ronnie. Well, we're doing pretty good, and we're assuming you're doing so too. Second place tonight. Congratulations. That final restart was a little tough. It seems like Winters got a good run on you, and was that just the do-in, or what did you think of that final run to the finish?
Yeah, I thought I had a chance getting him on the restart, but he just had a little bit more getting in there into those turns, and I was giving it my all just to stay up there. After last week's finish, I knew I had to keep calm and just drive it.
Absolutely. And was the car doing you the favors it needed to through that last stage of the run? We know the strategy game went all over the place throughout this race. So how was the number 7 handling at the very end of that one?
Well, it was tight towards the end of the run. About the middle of the race, I got some damage. I got spun. Took no tires, and then just trying to hold it there, and got spun. Went to the back, and then just made my way back up to the front. Just being patient and just gave what the car gave me, and just made it through all the wrecks and just drove it.
Absolutely. And I was about to mention that as well. It's just been a long race, a lot of ups and downs for everybody in the field, but you as well, Ronnie. So just how did you get through it? How did you survive the yellows, the cautions, the incidents, the strategy changes? How did you make it through these 200 laps?
I just, like I said, I got spun, and then once I got spun, I stayed in the back and just inched my way up through each caution. Got 3 or 4 spots each time, and just eventually I made it back up.
Absolutely. So a second place is a good run for the championship too. What opportunities are you looking forward to moving forward as you try to progress into the playoff picture?
Well, I want to get that first win, but I'll be happy with top 5s. I would love to finish top 10 in the points, but I keep on progressing each week, and I think I could give it a shot for the championship towards the end.
Absolutely, Ronnie, and I agree with you, and I'm happy to see you putting a charge on. Before we let you go to relax and take the load off for the evening, we'll give you center stage and let you go. Anybody you want to thank or anything else you want to put out there on the broadcast before we let you go for your evening?
I'd just like to thank Mark Ellis over at Finish Line Wash Pros. He's came aboard with my go-karting career, and then he's also came aboard onto this as well, rooting me on and helping me out. And then I'd like to thank my wife, John Kinder. He's the one that got me into the series. He's coached me in my go-karting stuff, and then also on this as well. So I just keep on getting better each week, and I thank them for letting me do this, and I thank the Bluegrass series, and then also you guys for what you guys do as well.
Well, thank you very much, Ronnie. Congratulations on second place tonight. It was a great race to watch. We enjoyed watching you go through. We'll look forward to seeing you move forward in the future races we have here on the channel and in the series.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that was Ronnie Shirk Jr., ladies and gentlemen. Second place, great run for the number 7 and the driver of said machine. We'll throw it back to Mr. Noah Carmichael with the final driver on your podium tonight, the championship leader coming in, the number 2, that's Brandon Robertson.
Well, Brandon, you had an absolutely incredible run here. Started back in 11th and clawed your way all the way up to a P3 finish. How does that feel coming off of already being locked into the playoffs, but now having a strong run here to boost your way into the postseason? Right, seems he might have stepped away for a bit. Brandon Robertson, do you got a copy with us? Try one more time here, see if you got us for a bit. Brandon, it's Noah Carmichael up here in the PitStop TV booth. Do you got us? Alright, looks like Brandon Robertson is not with us here for the moment, so we'll get Casey Barlow, who finished just behind him in the P4 position. Casey, you got us up here in the booth?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, you didn't quite get the win. You fell back one spot to 4th, but still an incredible run here tonight. How does that feel with the momentum off your first win of the season at Martinsville?
It feels good, you know. Tonight was a fun race. Everybody seemed to have it together a lot more tonight. We had a lot more green flag runs. That first run, I from the start, I fell off quite a bit, but then was able to start to work my way back up. fourth place. I'm pretty happy with that coming off a win.
Well, we've seen you've been really impressive here for the past 2 weeks on these little tiny short tracks here in the state of Virginia. But next week we head off to the 1.5 miles that is Kansas Speedway. What can we expect to see out of you next week to try and keep this wave rolling as you get set for your first postseason?
Well, hopefully be fighting for a win. Kansas is my home state where I was born, and me and my dad, when they opened that racetrack, me and my dad went out for about 8 years, 10 years straight every year for the NASCAR weekends. So it's a track I'm very familiar with. I feel like I'll have good speed there, and just try and keep it clean, stay in it till the end.
That sounds great. And before we let you go here, who do you have to thank for your 4th place finish here tonight to bring you home here and a top 5 finish?
Yeah, I want to thank Ayers Racing Paints. He did the paint scheme for me on the split coal trickle scheme here. I want to thank my dad and my family as well. They watching the broadcast tonight, so I want to say thank you to those guys. Thank you to Bluegrass iRacing Series and the PitStop TV.
All right, well, that's great to hear. Thank you for all you've done here this season. We'll see you next week out in the Midwest.
Thanks, guys. See you in Kansas.
All right. Well, it's 2 weeks away. My bad. Obviously, with the Christmas holidays, they're obviously going to take the week off, which you can respect there for that. But that will wrap up our post-race interviews here tonight. Let's take you down the running order for your final finishing positions. Rolling off with your first win of the season, just the winners. Running there in second, an impressive runner-up is Ronnie Shirk Jr. Third is where you're going to find the number 2 of Brandon Robertson. Fourth is going to be the 51 of Casey Barlow. Fifth is going to be the number 33 of Wyatt Brackett. Sixth is going to be Nathan Maurer, your stage 1, your halfway winner. Wes Wiggin is going to bring it home in the 7th spot. 8th is going to be number 15 of Matt Grenier. John Kender is going to rebound all the way up to the 9th position. And then CJ Mason is going to bring home a top 10 here tonight, Richmond.
Looking back at 11th place, you've got the number 1 machine of Scott Fritz. Didn't make quite a lot of noise tonight, but rounds it out. Pretty solid performance. Same goes for the number 113 of Daniel Worthington in 12th at the end of this one. Joshua Abbey, a little bit of a late race strategy move, put him more towards the back of the field, coming into the pits to get fresh rubber. Ended up getting 13th spot, just 1 spot ahead of the 01 machine of Dakota Shepard. Rounding out your top 15 is going to be Nick Mills. In 16th, another driver who didn't quite keep it out of trouble for the entirety of this race, but still trekked on and ended up in the 16th spot is Ryan Kendall. Tyler Reed made a lot of noise tonight, and I think that shows where he's going to be moving as the season progresses, is forward, but 17th tonight. Adam Lancaster, your sole driver to finish 1 singular lap down in 18th position. And then behind him is going to be the number 8 of Mitch Smith in 19th. That's 2 laps down. And alongside him, rounding out your top 20, the number 71 of Michael Brizin.
Rounding out your final 9 positions here tonight is going to be number 48 of Jack Bauer in 21st. He ended up 3 laps down. Brian Terry finishes in the 22nd spot, 4 laps down. Alongside him is Gary Jaworski in the number 18. Bryce Hunter, after his little airborne excursion on the backstretch, he takes home a 24th spot. Michael Ogzet is going to bring home in 25th. Alex Brown is going to take home the 37 machine, 14 laps down in 26. David Brackett, after a rough ride to the inside wall, he takes it home in the 27th position. Alan Dobbs is going to be, I believe, your first of the drivers to retire after that rough incident on the front straightaway. He ends up 104 laps down, and behind him, only 2 laps ahead, is going to be Nicholas Noggle in the 08, bringing home dead last in P29. Well, that's going to wrap it up here. An incredible night of action. But before we go, let's give a quick shout out to our incredible sponsors here. Obviously, you're going to start off with the guys over at Bluegrass iRacing. A big shout out to the Rims One Wheel Tires and Accessories. I've been a long-time supporter of these guys, even since before last season. And then Milner Media and Designs. 2 great guys or businesses that have been promoting the series for quite a while and have really stepped it up this season. So a big shout out to them. And then also we want to give a shout out to our own partners here at PitStop TV. I'm going to start off with Tucson Soundar, your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and we will custom create a beautiful framed, high-quality built-in canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With SoundArt, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for more additional information. Obviously, make sure you use the code PitStop in your order to get a discount off your order. That'll obviously help you a lot. And obviously, you want to use this. They've been a great long-time supporter of the lesson. You have given our buddy Andrew Carr not only a little bit of wall art that he utilizes a lot and loves to use. Also want to give a shout out to Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care money can buy. At Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine, Ashley Bullier is a certified micropigmentation specialist. He provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call/text them at 207-358-8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine a call today to book a consultation. If you visit our Facebook page, Permanent Makeup in Cryo, Maine, you can enter one of their monthly giveaways. Enter today, and who knows, you might just win. And then wrapping it out is going to be Whiplash Media, PitStop TV's new parent organization. Whiplash Media specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Go to whiplash-media.com for more information. Well, Joe, we had an incredible night of action here at Richmond. Do you have any closing thoughts to wrap out tonight's action as we get set for another 1 week vacation here for the Bluegrass iRacing Series?
Well, I'm glad to have been a part of it. Obviously, congratulations to Justin Winters. I know that race meant a lot to him, not only for personal means, but for the championship and getting his footing back under him in this series. And then obviously to Ronnie Shirk as well for getting second, and Brandon Robertson for rounding out the top three. Short track racing is always exciting. There's always a lot of dynamic things going on in a race, and it's been really cool to see all of that play out. I think this race did encompass a lot of what we really enjoy about coming to these Bluegrass events. Merry Christmas to everybody watching. I hope everyone has a happy and safe holiday and gets to see people that they care about, their friends and family, whether from a distance or together, respectfully and safely, socially distancing together, and just have a good holiday season. Obviously, we're not going to be back on next week. We'll be taking a holiday break, and then we will return with Kansas the following week, so be sure to tune in. I'm very excited to go to Kansas and see what these guys bring out. But in the meantime, Merry Christmas and be safe, and we'll see you on the other side.
Absolutely couldn't have said it better myself. And with that, that'll conclude our coverage tonight of the Bluegrass iRacing Series. We at PitStop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Have a very safe Merry Christmas and a holiday, and we'll see you all again next week for the Bluegrass iRacing Series. Well, in 2 weeks' time, as we get set to go for a incredible New Year's Eve bash at Kansas Speedway for our final broadcast of the 2020 calendar. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/PitStopTV, on Twitter at PitStopTV_, and at Twitch at twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, and on YouTube by just simply searching PitStopTV1. For all of us at PitStop TV, Joe Donahue with me on the mic, Andrew Cardinale the fourth on production, Trace Shuttleworth on social media, and I'm Noah Carmichael. Thank you, and we will see you next time.